Okay.
Let me know if it's a little
It
off.
sound like the TEACHA. It sound like.
Oh yeah.
I'm a miracle. Forget whatever I can afford. I am a miracle. Walking with the strength of a Lord. Spitting lyrical. How am I even spitting it all? That's a miracle. 30 years, KRS-ONE. How we still hearing you? Yo, it's a miracle. No, not just my lyricals. My data is empirical when it comes to these miracles. Within the miracle, I am the miracle. I am the pinnacle. Never pitiful. See past the typical. Deep mystical. Meta and physical. Rational and spiritual. Mind over material. I am the miracle. Say it with me. I am the miracle. Wipe away the doubt, the disbelief, and the fear in you. Project your mind down the line about a year or two. See yourself pursuing it and doing what you here to do. You are the miracle. Yes, you are the miracle. You get what you expect. See 1,000 people cheering you. You are the miracle. You and I, a miracle. This is intellectually critical and political. Yes, you are the miracle, cause faced with the imperial, we didn't lose our spiritual. That alone is a miracle. Standing on principle while others steady dissing you, but still showing love, living above, that's a miracle. They tried to put the fear in you, act like they wasn't hearing you, but that was minimal. You remain the miracle. No hate or bitterness, cause both are reciprocal. Not to become hateful toward hate, that's a miracle. The rent due and the landlord, he ain't hearing you, but the check with no money on it you gave him just cleared for you. Miracle. When you pray, someone's always hearing you. Ancestors, Holy Spirit, maybe someone near to you. A miracle.
You are a miracle. Fresh, you are a miracle. Blessed, you are a miracle. You are a miracle. You are a miracle. Yes, you are a miracle. Fresh, you are a miracle. Blessed, you are a miracle. You are a miracle. You are a miracle.
Yes, so this is the project right here. Big up to Dr. Dre. Big up to you, Dre, all day. Appreciate the time. You know, we were recording this project in a variety of studios, and this is sort of the icing on the cake. This is sort of like, we recorded in all these different places and we got all these different sounds, but I needed to come to a studio like this so that everything can now sound the same. Everything can now have the same power, inflection, this kind of thing, tone, and all of that. So this is the project. It's called Street Light, and it's called Street Light because, well, for a variety of reasons. One is that this is light for the street, and this is light of the street. This is light coming from the street, meaning that light is a symbol for awareness. Light is a symbol for the mind being able to see clearly or finally see. That's what we call light. I finally seen the light, or you know, light in darkness. So we call it street light because of the symbolism of light. But the other side to it is that the actual street light was the original source of hip-hop's power. It is where we went to when we was outside DJing in the parks and in the street. We would go to a lamp post, a street light, go into the base of the light, and there you could rearrange the wiring at the base of the light and give yourself electricity. So many DJs actually did this, went to the base of the lamp post and extracted the energy from the lamp post. This is the original way we used to power our equipment and lights and all this other stuff. So I went back to that traditionally and called this particular mixtape project Street Life.
Let's rock. I wanna take a ride. I wanna feel the vibe. I'm feeling good inside.
Yo, take a ride round the block now. Every day seen dope fiends and the cops round. At any traffic stop, we could be shot down. And in the courts, it's just us. Justice is not found. Roadblocks, checkpoints, and the lockdown.
This is going to be on the tour exclusively. You can't really get it anywhere else. Of course, you can go to KRS-ONE.com. You can go right there and get everything really just relating to me. But if you want a real CD copy of it, you're going to have to come to the tour, or you're going to have to go to KRS-ONE.com and order yourself a copy. So this is how it's going down. Street light, light for the streets.
Peace and much love, and welcome to the Temple of Hip Hop. I am Minister Sun One. Here is our teacher, KRS-ONE. Your mic.
Bang.
There you go.
Things ain't changed much. And you hear my voice? I was looking at that old clip I guess vintage clip that you put forward. I look the same way, G.
Yes, the exact same. Younger.
I got a little less hair, I guess. But I'm still recovering from last night. Let's get right in. I see you recovered. Absolutely. Last night was crazy.
Yeah.
Let me get right into it. Welcome everyone. Obviously my voice, you can hear the scraggliness of my voice right now, and I love it. I'm gonna recover, of course, throughout the day. I'm drinking lemon ginger tea. Lemon ginger restores me. Something hot, you know how it go. It is what it is. But last night, oh my God, and it's oh my God, because let me start off by saying we was in Garden Grove last night. Garden Grove, California. Nice little city. Garden Grove, California. So the city, so it starts off with, well, first of all, it starts off with the fact that me and Kool G Rap were on the bill with a whole bunch of Cali artists. But it's KRS and it's Kool G Rap. Place is packed. We in there, music blasting. All my dudes is there. Mark Love, DJ Indigenous, all type of people. And Mundo, he wasn't performing, but you know, it was amazing. And so it starts off with Kool G Rap, and me and Kool G Rap got a chance to chop it up. You know, I congratulated him on his conversion to Judaism. Straight up and down, Kool G Rap is a Jew. Straight up. Hip hop is so great. So Kool G Rap converted to Judaism. I thanked him. And of course, obviously, he said, "You've been trying to teach us this the whole time." Da, 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 da. And but it was great. We're getting older and we're rising into our spirituality. Some of us are Christians, Jews, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhists, atheists. Hip hoppers are thinking about their spirit and their spirituality. We've always been thinking about our spirit and our spirituality and our spiritual growth. But, you know, if you don't have a forum like this to discuss it, it don't even get discussed. So, this is actually great, which is why the Temple of Hip Hop is actually in existence. So we can have these type of discussions within our own community, not being ostracized, criticized, penalized, and so on, for having our own spiritual views. It was wonderful to get with Kool G Rap last night. He got on, rocked it as well. Crowd was into everything. Totally different type of show. You know, his show was just on some back and forth. The crowd knew every word. Kool G Rap. Real legend too. Because again, Kool G Rap don't really have brand new music out or someone. He's living off his legendary work. And this is part of what we're going to talk about today. That the need to be patient. The need to be patient with yourself. The need to be patient with yourself. This is what we're going to talk about today. As you know, when I'm on the road, I do shorter reads because I'm on the road and I'm on the run. So we're holding up lesson 5. We're holding up, or should I say, track 5. We're holding up track 5, which is the last track of this particular of our book of the Gospel of Hip Hop. Track 5 is our last lesson. So I'm holding that up. What are we talking about? We're talking about the building of our nation. We're talking about the building of hip-hopia. That's what we're talking about. As we get to the end of the gospel now, we're talking about the building of our nation. If you've read the Gospel of Hip Hop with me over these years, however long you've been reading the gospel with me, you'll know that this is the goal, to build hip-hopia. The reason we're reading the gospel is so that we can become teachers in our, not only teachers in our temple, but teachers of hip-hop within hip-hopia. We have to teach people how to be citizens of hip-hopia. You just don't say, you know, a city and then expect the city to just, you know, appear. Son one.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Just before it gets too far ahead, Kool G Rap does have a new album.
Son one, are you there? Oh, actually, he's frozen. He just came up frozen. Okay.
Can you hear me?
You just came up on my screen. So I'm just gonna. Oh, what's up? You good?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, Kool G Rap does have a new album. It's called Last of a Dying Breed.
Damn. What up?
I just wanted to, he didn't do any of it last night, I don't believe.
No, I don't think he did. I didn't hear no new stuff. I didn't really hear no new stuff. But good looking on that. Kool G Rap new album, come on, get back on the screen.
Last of a Dying Breed.
Last of a Dying Breed. Go pick that up by Kool G Rap. I'm gonna go get my copy right after this. Because I gotta hear that. But he does have an album. And look at that as well. I didn't even really know he had an album out as well. And look at that. The promotion, the marketing. If you ain't got $40 million, nobody can hear you. But for some reason, last night in Garden Grove, those Mexicans heard us. Okay, Kool G Rap, KRS, it was rammed in there, all right? And they gave it up. There's another set of marketing going on, and that's called culture. Word of mouth, respect gained over years. Legendary material that you could keep going back to and get the same effect after 30, 40 years. This is what we teaching here at the Temple of Hip Hop. This is what we're teaching here. So let me just put a period on this other piece. I was saying that, well, I was talking about last night. I want to get back to that. But we're talking about patience. I'm holding up the 5th track, or track 5, which is talking about nation building. It's the last part of our gospel, which now talks about the building of nation, the building of hip-hopia, the building of the hip-hop nation. So I'm gonna just start rattling off. I just want to make sure we put this into history. The clip you saw just before this was a clip from the Streetlight album done a couple of years back. And I shouted out Dr. Dre. I want to shout Dr. Dre out again. The West Coast Dr. Dre, the NWA Dr. Dre. There's an East Coast Dr. Dre as well with Ed Lover. Shout to you as well. Ed Lover and Dr. Dre. Your MTV Raps. Dr. Dre goes back to actually one of my first interviews on college radio goes back with that Dr. Dre. But I'm talking about the West Coast Dr. Dre. with NWA, the producer extraordinaire, etc. Shout out to him again, because as I came here, as I was coming to the West Coast, Dr. Dre invited us to his house, sit down, have dinner, talk, so on. I'm eager to have that. I can't even get over to your house, Dre, if you're listening. I can't even get over there because we're running around, but we are going to try to set something up. I'd like to talk to Dre about the 50th anniversary of hip hop. That's one of the reasons why I'm here on the West Coast as well. You know, we schedule our tours based on where we want to go, in that sense, and we planned ourselves out here in California for this particular time, and so we're here. So I'm trying to get those interviews. Now, last night, and by the way, just for those that are just tuning in, you know, I'm talking fast, but and I'm talking as if you understand everything I'm saying. So let me make sure everyone understands what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm speaking to the fact that we're coming up on the 50th anniversary of hip hop. We're doing our 1520 Sedgwick Avenue exhibit in the 1520 Community Center. Obviously, 55 Ludlow Street is the new address for the Temple of Hip Hop's building, teaching facility in Newark, New Jersey. We're gearing up for that. I want to get into Hip Hop Appreciation Week, which is coming up in May, and we're going to do a big thing at our facility in Newark, New Jersey. You guys should start getting prepared to come out and visit your temple of hip hop. It won't be beautified yet in that sense, but you'll see the building and you'll see what it is. And we'll walk through how we're going to renovate, where the murals are going to go, where everything's going to be. And I'm taking suggestions as well. We need many minds to do this. So we're doing that. So in light of that, there's a lot of preparation and planning that's going on right now. In fact, this planning's been going on since hip hop's 49th birthday. You remember we was at 1520 Community Center celebrating the 49th birthday, which pretty much launched the countdown to hip hop's 50th. Remember, we are the ones that first shouted hip hop's 50th anniversary and let the world know that hip hop has a 50th. Now, everybody kind of can calculate that on their own. But again, who's doing the work? And this is another opportunity to just show you how this has been going down over the last 20 years, 30 years. Everybody's talking, and we appreciate that. Some, back in the days talked about hip hop as culture. Very few, but some did. Zulu Nation, I always shout them out, or you out, for talking about hip hop as community, as culture, as a group of people. But again, even though others were talking about it, knew the concept, was even approaching hip hop like this, it was the Temple of Hip Hop that did the work. This is the point. When it comes to Zulu Nation, you should say the Temple of Hip Hop continued the work. We went further. We took hip hop to the United Nations. We established the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. We wrote the science of rap and the gospel of hip hop. And now we stand with our own teaching facility, which was predicted and forecast by Kool Herc. This is the culture of hip hop at work. We're doing the work. That's what it means to be part of the Temple of Hip Hop, that you're doing the work. Not looking at your teacher, not enjoying concerts, but doing the work. That's why we are gathered here together, to do the work. Shout out to the apprentices that have come aboard to learn from this particular tour situation. I hope you're getting what you need to get, because what I'm showing you first is hip hop. That's first. Let's get real with hip hop, and let's get real with let's get real with our approach to hip hop. Last night we was in the presence of Kool G Rap, and he spit his knowledge. I asked him straight up, "What you think about hip hop over the last 50 years?" Homie came right out and was like, "Originality, it's gone. The change from then to now, you didn't want to sound like somebody else. You wanted to be your own man. Today, everybody want to sound like the next person because you only using hip hop as a job. Kool G Rap dropped Knowledge last night as well. We recorded that, but that's going in the archive as well. But that's what we out here to do. Big up to DJ Indigenous, who I worked with, Mexican DJ, dope DJ out here. I didn't even know he was on the bill. He came out, did his thing with another group, but he was, I think it was the house DJ actually, throwing on hardcore stuff. Shout out to Mark Love, DJ Mark Love of Zulu Nation, West Coast, LA, holding down Zulu Nation out here in the West Coast. Mark Love, he was there. Another historian. These are people that I'm going to ask questions and bring around other historians that know the history of LA hip hop. Remember, the 50th anniversary of hip hop is not just going to talk about the Bronx. We're going to talk about New York. And we're going to talk about the West Coast. And we're going to talk about the South. And we're going to talk about Florida. And we're going to talk about Chicago. And we're going to talk about Detroit. You know, these were pockets. Philadelphia, how can I forget you? You know, these are pockets, hubs of hip hop. Washington, D.C., the whole go-go scene. I got Criminal Minded. The break for Criminal Minded is Trouble Funk, which is a go-go band. Shout out to D.C., Washington, D.C. These little pockets of areas where hip-hop was birthed from. It wasn't just the Bronx. The Bronx was the seed. The Bronx was the beginning. But that tree grew crazy and was watered by other pioneers and other icons and other innovators. You know, the seed is not a seed by itself. Kool Herc is Kool Herc. Cindy is Cindy. Bam is Africa Bambaataa is Africa Bambaataa. Grandmaster Flash is Grandmaster Flash. Crazy Legs, Rocksteady, New York City Breakers, all of them. You can't take nothing from them as pioneers of the culture. But they're not the only ones. KRS-ONE is not the only one. We're all doing this work. But again, if we're not organized amongst ourselves, first of all, our children never even learned that we did this work. Second of all, because they don't know we did this work, they can't partake in the victories and the fruits that this seed has birthed. They don't even know what's going on. You know, and lastly, we can't even protect ourselves into our older age without this kind of knowledge. So this is the Temple of Hip Hop. This is what we're doing, and I'm just running down from last night. I showed my ass last night. I was out of control because once the engineer knew what time it was with my mic and the beat, and I was there with my whole crew, and there's all kind of other people. Matter of fact, you know what? Hold on, let me read some of this. Let me read some of this. I got some notes here. Matter of fact, I'm gonna read all my notes. I read some of this a couple of weeks ago, but I want to read it again because it's fitting for today. We're talking about patience today. Patience. Chill out. Let's get rid of the anxiety. And let's learn to wait. We're going to talk about this today. But like I said, I want to shout out Kool G Rap, straight up and down. Big up to him and his whole crew. Shout out to Supreme as well. The mayor of Garden Grove, Steve Jones, Mayor Steve Jones of Garden Grove, California, came to the show last night with a BDP shirt on. It was great. This is just one of the highlights, okay? The mayor of the city came through. Jeans, Adidas, BDP. And he had he didn't even have the BDP one that we sell at BDP.1. He had some other old vintage, something I did like 20 years ago. BDP. It was crazy. So he came out and was jamming with us. Now think about this for a minute. Because I'm up there yelling, Viva Mexico! God. How then Can they talk about some border when they are the invaders? Easy stop. I'm out there wilding, okay? Sound of the police, black cop. We out there doing it, okay? The mayor right there, like, word. Like, yeah, hands in the air. That shit, okay? Mayor out there with the BDP on. It's a new day. If you're still thinking in that old consciousness, you're gonna get left behind. It's a new day. We ain't selling out. We ain't changing views. We staying consistent in what we talking about. And government officials are coming around this thought now. Coming around this thought. You see, you can't front here. You can't front here. If you're not with it, you can't even be in the building. If you don't understand what we're teaching, your own soul will not be able to stay in the building. You're going to leave. You're not going to want to come around. But that's not what's happening. More and more people are realizing what this thing is all about. And they're realizing, saying, you know what? I need to contribute to this. This is history making, and it's good history. Our children are going to eat on this forever. Forever. They're going to eat on this. Forever. Did you hear what I said? Forever and ever and ever and ever. We will be eating forever. We're going to be eating on this forever. Mayors, senators, and council people, and everybody else. Those that build cities and build nations understand what we're doing. Now, those at the strip club might not. No disrespect. But if that's what your mentality is, no disrespect, but you might not understand what we're doing. Your intent is what gives you the understanding. Your intention to see a free and prosperous hip-hop nation is what also gives you the understanding for it. But if you're wasting your time on the world's temporary pleasures, then you're going to wind up 60, 65 wondering what happened to my life. What did I do with my life? What is the meaning of my life? And now you're 65. And what happened? All you did was go to the baseball game for the last 30 years. All I did was drive a truck for the last 30 years. No, you got to do more with your life. You got to do more with every breath you bring in. That's an opportunity to do something. Every breath, every bump of the heart, every beat of the heart, you have a moment to get up and become the person you desire yourself to be, the person you envision yourself to be. You got to do the work. But some people get impatient with the work because it don't happen right there where they need it to happen. I think it was Ashanti that said, I may not come when you call, but I'm always on time. I gave you my all, so baby, be mine. I mean, I'm not always there when you call, but I'm always. Shout out to Ashanti right now, the true queen, on another level. But anyway, shout out to Ashanti right now on that record, but she's mirroring really an old Christian kind of statement when talking about God, who says, God may not come when you call, but God is always on time. And when you walk that path, you know what that means. You experience this. You can't just read that. You have to live your life. And the book of life you start reading the book of life and you can see. God may not show up when you want, but God is always on time. When God shows up, It's beyond what you could possibly imagine. And this is the point for churches, synagogues, temples, mosques. We're supposed to be examples of the gospel, not readers or even teachers of the gospel, but examples of the gospel. If you are an example of your gospel, you are incorruptible, infallible. You don't make errors. You don't seek to deceive, to lie, to cheat. You have control of yourself. I mean, if this is the path for you, welcome to the temple of hip hop. But again, if you're still afraid, doubtful, and anxious, all this other stuff, this might not be the place for you. You might need church. You might need Jesus. And I laugh, but it's serious. Now you might need to pick up that Bible. Yeah. You might need to pick up the Bible and start reading that from cover to cover and try to adopt the character that at least the Bible is offering to get you where you need to go. But what we teach in here is an advanced knowledge. This is not religion or science. This is philosophy, the mother of both. So here, you have to come with a certain character. You don't even enter the temple of hip hop without the proper character. We're not here to repair broken people. That's not our mandate. We're here to erect a nation. That's our mandate. We're not here to solve your problems. The local church is. You got issues with the heart. You got issues with your mind. You got issues with people around you. You got issues with the job, with the school. You got issues. Go to church and get some good Christ in you. Christ be rehabilitating dudes. Straight up. Okay, you get that in you. But be clear, that ain't what this temple of hip hop is. That ain't our mandate. God did not tell us to go save the world. God told us to save ourselves. If there's anything in the Bible that matches anything we're doing, it would be Noah's Ark. That's what we're doing. Okay, Noah's Ark, the flood's coming. The temple is the ark in Newark, New Jersey. The new ark in New Jersey, the temple of hip hop. If we match anything that deals with the Bible, it would be that. Or even Moses coming out the mountain, Mount Sinai, with the law, with the 10 Commandments. If anything, we them dudes over there. We're not here to sacrifice our lives for you. Shout out to the Christ, shout out to Jesus. But that ain't what our mandate is. That's what our parents' mandate was. Dr. King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, and others others basically. Okay, Paul Robeson. Ruby D. Man. You know, these people gave their lives, and not their physical lives, like Paul Robeson didn't give his physical. He gave his career up for us to be able to sit here right now and talk freely without some racists coming and shutting us off or trying to damage us damage our credibility in some kind of way. Our forefathers and mothers gave their lives. Now that's the Christian way. No greater love that a man have that he gives his life for his brothers. I'm paraphrasing, but no greater love than for you to lay down your life for your friends. That's the Christian way. Self-sacrifice. G. Simone has an acronym for CROSS. Constant reminder of self-sacrifice. When you wear the cross, when you see the cross, what is that? A constant, do you hear the word constant? Reminder of self-sacrifice. That's what that whole mission was. As we come up on Easter too, by the way. As we come up on Easter, okay, self-sacrifice for the resurrection of the Christ. Now, as beautiful as that is, that ain't our mandate. That ain't what we here to do. We could teach that. We could point others. But what we here to do is build a nation. That's what we here to do. We are here to establish hip hop as a sovereign nation. That's what we here to do. And if we don't do this work today, the ones to come after us won't have a foundation to stand upon to continue the work. The work that we're starting today will outlive us. I will not see the results of the work that I'm doing, the ultimate results of the work that I'm doing. I won't see it. We won't see it. We'll be gone. But hip-hopia will be as big as Las Vegas, if not bigger. By the time we leave this earth, these concepts will be silly to people. Like, so what? This hip-hopia, I was there the other day. I ate some food there. It'll be like nothing. Now, as we talk, like when we read the gospel, we read how I'm trying to convince you that hip hop is a culture and we should look at it more than music. And I'm trying to convince you that back in 2009 and so on. Now it seems silly. Everybody out there, now rap is something you do, hip hop is something you live. We know that. Now it's something different because it's regular now because we did the work. Now the work continues. Now the work continues. And you got to be patient. You got to be patient. You got to know how to wait. You got to know how to wait. You got to know that what's yours is yours by divine right. That what's yours is coming to you because it belongs to you. If you don't know that, this type of work is going to be very difficult for you. If you don't have patience, this type of work is going to be very difficult for you because your anxiety, your drive to get ahead or do whatever is what's leading you. The truth is not leading you. Your emotions are. And this is the place we have to look at. This is what we're talking about today. So let me shout out Mayor Steve Jones, who came out to check the KR last night. Steve Jones, shout out to you, with the BDP on too. Keep it real. Okay, he came dressed for the occasion. Okay, Steve Jones, the DJ Indigenous, Mark Love, Fredro Starr, Onyx. It's time to get live like a wire. I set the whole stage on fire. Onyx, crazy. Another dope show to go see. Fredro Starr was there. He didn't perform enough. He just came to see KR and Kool G Rap. Everybody was in the house. Graffiti writers, Create, the original Create was in the building last night, tagging, doing his thing. I scooped him for the 50th. Okay. Ink One, dope, did a Cool Herc rendition while on stage. Amazing. I might even actually get it from him as I think about it. I might actually get that from him as I think about it. And last but not least, the promoter, Carlos, Straight Hip Hop. His production is called Out the House Productions. Out the House Productions. And you know what that, you can just see what that is. Out the House Productions. But that's Carlos. He put the whole thing on last night. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing what we did last night. It was all hip hop. And you felt that. And you felt that. Let me read this piece. I read it a couple of weeks ago, but I want to read it again because it's pertaining to what we're dealing with here today. Nation building, nation building, nation building. That's what we're dealing with. And to deal with a nation, to deal with your community, deal with the creation of civilization, you're dealing with philosophy. We love religion and we love science. But philosophy is what birthed them both, and some other stuff as well, like psychology. Okay. Philosophy covers this. That's why our school is a philosophical study learning center. Philosophical. The Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop preservation ministry, archive, school, and society. Our mission is to preserve and promote and organize the original principles of hip hop into a transferable body of useful knowledge capable of enhancing one's health, love, awareness, and wealth. We are practicing the enhancement of health, love, awareness, and wealth for those that seriously practice hip hop or live its lifestyle for real. Our strategy to preserve hip hop is to preserve the hip hopper. This begins with knowledge of oneself as hip hop. As you may already know, our approach to hip hop is cultural. This is what we teach because this is what we did. What we teach, we know. What we teach, we know. This is what it is. You know what, too, y'all? Hold on one second. I want to just open up. I want to open my door real quick. And because this is getting a little hot in here. It's getting hot in here. Let me just come real quick and do that. Hold on one second, y'all. I just want to do this. I got some AC over here, and I could just hit that real quick. Yeah. And this is how it goes down. Well, do I want to open that door? No, I'll just leave this AC on. All right, I'm back. Just gonna turn the AC on. Hold on, y'all. I'm just getting myself together here. So on, things are falling and dropping. Knowledge of oneself as hip hop is what we are teaching. To preserve hip hop, excuse me, we're looking to preserve the hip hopper with a knowledge of oneself as hip hop. As you may already know, our approach to hip hop is cultural. This is what we teach because this is what we did. We teach what we know to be true. That's what we teach, what we know to be true. Because what we teach, we did. That's the point. We teach what we did. Now, we do include other people's knowledge into what we do. We read books, we listen, we take advice. But the foundation of our teaching is based upon what we did. We teach what we do. For those temple members that are, for those temple members that have been studying with us for over 2 years now, you know, reading this gospel, of course, I thank you for that, for staying with us and reading with us, and supporting us, not only with your time, with your mind, but with your dime as well. I thank you for that. But I'd like to also mention or say, don't just sit there and watch me or watch these calls and not make the necessary changes you need to make in your own life. Don't just take this as entertainment or even as inspiration. Get up and move toward what you believe yourself to be. Think about this. If somebody was paying you to do something, you do it. You'd find the strength to get up and do it. Why? Because somebody paying you. You want the money. But for your own life, for the enhancement of your own life, you do nothing. And remember, without your life, you can't even get money. You need your life. but most people don't move on their life like they move on their job. Or should I say, people don't move on their work like they move on their job. They jobbing all day, but your life work remains dormant, and you're neglecting your life work for a job so that you could just eat, justifying our being, job, justifying our being. You're just justifying your being. I'm doing a job. I get a check. I eat, pay bills. That's my life. Driving a truck for 25 years, doing the same old stupidness for 25. That's your life? No, that's what you're doing with your life. What is the meaning of your life? That's the spiritual, philosophical question, even psychological question. What are you doing with your life? With your life. Not what are you doing with your body to sustain your life, but what are you doing with your life? How much time do you give that? And when I say, how much time do you give to your life? Give to your physical health, your love, your awareness, your wealth, your well-being. How much time do you spend on that? Or is all your time going to the benefit of a job or other people, even family? Come on, mothers, women, y'all know how y'all get. Whole life swamped up with the family, with the kids. Okay? They'll take your whole life, okay, from you. You can't do nothing. You whining the kids, running after these kids. Nah, there's nothing wrong with a mother saying, get the fuck out of here. I'm going to take a shower right now. Go find something to do. I'm going to take this bath right now. I'm going to take some time to me right now. I'm going to fast right now. I'm going to pray right now. I'm going to meditate right now. You know, but it's the maternal instinct of the mother. Fathers as well, but we do it a different way. We go out and work ourselves to death so that the family could eat. We out here basically getting whipped, basically in the plantation, so that our families don't have to get whipped in the plantation. That's how dad do it, okay? Work till you die, okay? Mom is like, let me just preoccupy myself with everything other than myself. We're going to have to reverse this, y'all. We're going to have to reverse this, okay? Dad, you deserve a time off and a moment to yourself. Okay, you're not a slave for your family. No, you're not. You're the father, and you are a family member too. Mother, you ain't got to feel guilty that you ain't feed your kid today. Take a look at nature and how nature treats its kids, okay? The bird is quick, okay, to throw that dude out the nest, okay, because that's how you grow. That's how you grow, the hardships, the challenges in life. This is where your wings come out. This is where the claw comes out. This is where you get your fangs. This is where it come out. There got to be some kind of confrontation, some kind of challenge, something that makes you come out of yourself. Mothers, fathers got to be aware of this. So I mention this just as a side note to give yourself some time. Be patient with yourself. So we have some real challenges to solve. We have real challenges to solve. Excuse me, let me hit this tea real quick. We got real challenges to solve. Health care for our people. Retirement benefits for our people, for hip-hop. Healthcare for hip-hop. Benefits, retirement benefits for hip-hop. The protection of our intellectual property. Hip-hop's intellectual property, the protection of it. A network that provides for us. That's something we're working on right now is that network, that real hip-hop network that works for us. A financial network that works for us. It has healthcare, retirement, pays you. Our culture has to have this component to it, or we're not going to survive. We got to feed our people. We have to come up with systems that feed whole cultures, not just ourselves, but feed the entire culture and feed it forever. That's what we're thinking about. How do you come up with systems like that? And we have some ideas. We got some answers in that sense, one of which is hip-hopia. But we have other answers, more tangible, right in your face in that way, numbers on paper that actually provide a system for us in our older age and our children just coming in to protect the culture. This is our work. And again, I hope you understand what's going on. I hope you see what's actually going on. We're growing. We're growing. The temple is growing. If you guys can remember, we was at a temple house in Atlanta. Son One went and copped this whole house in Atlanta to get it started. Of course, COVID hit us, and that was a whole nother thing. But we did get the house and was like, this is where we're going to study. This is where we're going to start our lectures. And we did. And we did. And we were talking the same way then as now. We were talking about hip-hopia. We were talking about the gospel. We went through, our divine performances. These are the affirmations. Do you remember when we was in a garage? Do you remember that? Well, now we have a 20,000 square foot building and we're teaching out of that. Now we're at 1520, the birthplace of hip hop. We're teaching out of that. Do you see what's going on? Like I said, temples are supposed to be examples of the knowledge, examples of the gospel. So I hope you're seeing this, especially the apprentice that are accompanying me right now. I hope you're actually seeing this and not just, marveling or in awe or in some kind of daze, but that you're actually taking notes and seeing this. And seeing this. You are witnessing what we are teaching. You're witnessing it. So right now we're looking at obviously we're looking at the Weekway section of Newark, New Jersey. That's hip-hopia. We just put the temple right there in the center of hip-hopia to teach the people around us how to be citizens of hip-hop's new nation. We're going to be offering certificates of citizenship at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. You'll be able to either go there and register as an official citizen of hip hop. Remember, we were doing a census. Well, most of those people who filled out their census with us, they're going to get their certificate of citizenship. Then everyone else will go through whatever process we put forward to get their certificate of citizenship. Because we're at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, where the birthplace of hip hop is, where you get your citizenship at, we're only charging $15.20. So it's like, birth certificate or any other document you may get from the state. Here, the culture, $15.20, you get your certificate of citizenship out of 1520 Sedgwick. Can't get no more authentic than that. But this is the future. We're going to set this up. This is the future. How we're doing this. What's the point? Build our culture, build our nation, establish civilization, establish our city. We got to do this work. We got to do this work. And we got to do it because our children's lives are at stake. Our children's lives are at stake. And so is our lives in our older age. Straight up and down. So that's really it for the announcements and the first part to our lesson here today. The lesson here today, the first part, at least our first hour, is we're growing, y'all. We're growing. We're growing. And I'm not saying this like some kind of cheer, like to be cheered on. Oh, we're growing. You know, like companies, come on, we're growing from 1973 to now, we've grown. No, we're not talking about that. What I'm trying to show you is what we're teaching works. I'm hoping that you see the example. These words are secondary. You have to see the example. You have to see God for real. That's why nobody got no faith, you know, or why atheism may be on the rise. Because people are really not, your ministers are not showing you God. They're preaching God, but they're not bringing God right to your face, like undeniable. Here it is. They're not doing that. And I'm not criticizing nobody's ministry. I don't know what the people are going through in their own lives. But what I do know is that it is impossible to have a church or a synagogue or a mosque or a temple in an area where the people are still lost, confused, ignorant, fearful, anxious, jealous. You know, come on. And you speaking the word of God, you're supposed to speak that word, and people are supposed to be immediately like, okay, I get it. Right. This is what it is. Now, of course, it may take them some time, so you may have to come back with a repeat word to keep it moving. But after 10 years, 5 years, 1 year, your church, your temple, your mosque, synagogue has been up for 5 years, and there's still no, the community still didn't rise. Well, you know, we got to think about that. I'm not criticizing nobody's church or nobody's mosque or synagogue. But any person walking the path I'm walking walks down the street asking these same questions. How can you have a big church on the corner where the crack dealer is selling up the block or right in front of your church or your mosque, synagogue, temple, whatever, your spiritual place? How can you have a spiritual place in the hood and the hood is still the hood? Then what's the spirit? Then why are you here? Nobody's getting saved. Nobody's changing. Nobody's seeing anything different. The Temple of Hip Hop ain't gonna be that. We're not gonna be that. We're landing in the Weequay section of Newark, New Jersey, and we're gonna transform every mind in that area. They're gonna know what the truth is. Now, whether you deny it or not is your own business, but you will know. And you will respect too. You will know and you will respect. You will know what's going on here. So if you say, I ain't with it, that's on you then. But to walk down the street in Newark, New Jersey and not know that the Temple of Hip Hop is spitting the raw and every day, then we ain't no temple. What is that? What? We're just some whatever it is. I don't know what that is, but it ain't helping the society. It ain't helping Newark, New Jersey. It ain't helping nobody around the temple of the people who surround the temple. It ain't helping them. And if our temple ain't helping nobody, what are we there for? What are we there for? What, to get money? Like these church, don't let me get started. Okay, we're going in a different direction. Our direction is we're going to save our people. That's the direction we're going in. We're going to save our people. And how we going to save our people? With knowledge of themselves. Knowledge of yourself with evidence. Not just me telling you you're divine, but let me prove it to you. Let me prove it to you. Not God is real and your ancestors are depending on you. That word you may not get. But if I can show you growth, if I can show you development from a basement, from a garage basement to a 20,000 square foot building, no credit check, no nothing. Respect. No real estate agent. None of that. Respect. Respect. Do you hear me? You're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. Respect. Now, of course, the city done dumped the whole building on me. The taxes, the heating, everything else with the building now is dumped on my back, no doubt. But nonetheless, how did you acquire the Temple of Hip Hop, Chris? Respect. City officials became hip hop and saw the vision. This is it. This is it. This is it. And I'm hoping that you see this. I'm really hoping that you see this. Go back to the old temple lectures that we used to give on this same forum. Go back, go all the way back and listen to what we were saying. Well, now we are in the reality of what we spoke about a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 27 years ago. Now we're here. You got to be patient. Come on, y'all. Let's get into this right now. I'm going to oh, wait a minute. Let me get my notes together. We're talking about patience. Now we're going to highlight some new areas in the gospel of hip hop. And I just want to make sure we go back to that and highlight these new areas in the gospel of hip hop. Hold on. Just let me get my thing here. I thought I had my notes together, but for some reason I don't. Oh, here they go. Okay, so I'm looking in the wrong book. Okay. So let me start off. Grab your gospel. Grab your gospel. I got mine here with notes all in it. Grab your gospel and turn to page 489. 489, page 489 of the gospel of hip hop. Page 489 of the gospel of hip hop. What we're going to do is we're going to highlight paragraphs 122 to paragraphs 127. Go to page 489. And what we're going to do is we're going to highlight paragraphs 122 to 127. And here's why. Because we're following life's outcome willingly. Big up to G Simone on this one. We're following life's outcome willingly. It's been 27 years since I first said Hip Hop City. 27 years. 1996. Calculate that somehow. 1996, when we started the Temple of Hip Hop, the Temple of Hip Hop was started for this expressed reason. 27 years later, you know how much patience you got to have? 27 years later, we've performed patience. And now the fruit. Now the harvest. Here's paragraph 122. So as you become more and more attuned, let me stay here as well and say this. None of this works unless you're walking the path. I'll say it again. None of this works unless you have committed your heart to the spiritual walk, the spiritual character, the path of light. If you are not committed to that, nothing I'm going to say to you matters. It's just words. But if you have given yourself the permission to be all that you can be, and unseen doors are opening, if you're walking that path, then this is for you. This is what's working for you. If you're walking a spiritual path, and any spiritual path, not just the hip hop spiritual path, any spiritual path, you walk in that path, this is for you right here. Let me read. I just glanced at this. If you go up to page 119, go up to paragraph 119, it says the task of the teacher is to make hip hop real for the hip hopper. Think about that. The task of the teacher is to make hip hop real for the hip hopper. I always say that. And for the apprentice, you should know that as well. We underline this too. So make sure that line is underlined. That was one of the underlined lines way back when we were studying paragraph 119. We're not reading it. I just saw that right there. The task of the teacher is to make hip hop real for the hip hopper. That's what we're doing here at the temple. That's what happened with the apprentice last night. And on this tour, one of the reasons for going on tour with the teacher is that hip hop becomes real for you. You get to see things that you would not normally get to see just watching online or whatever. You're in the environment and you're seeing stuff. Hip hop has become real to you. But let me read this. So I'm at paragraph 122. So as you become more and more attuned and in harmony with your true self, do not marvel at the miracles in your own life. The more you realize you, the more your environment shall cater to your vision of yourself. Life itself responds to your vision of yourself. You better hear this. Life will respond to your vision of yourself if you walk in this path. Life. Okay, life itself, the reality of life itself will manifest what you really believe about yourself. Most people don't even believe that, and that's why it don't happen, because you believe that. You believe that, I always mention this, Wonder Woman, okay? The Wonder Woman 1984, where they made the power of positive thinking an enemy. I used to love Wonder Woman. I used to collect everything until that movie came out. They made the power of positive thinking, get this, positive thinking, okay? They made that dude the enemy. And guess what? He was dropping knowledge all through the film. They're showing you how it works. If you remember the film, go back and watch Wonder Woman after this. She first gets the crystal and she says, you know, it talks about all wishful thinking. Oh, you think you could just da-da-da-da-da. If it was really this, I'd really like a cup of coffee right now. Homeboy walks right in. Hey, I got 2 cups of coffee. Does anybody want a coffee? And it was like, oh. And then they brushed it off. Imagine if that's in a movie, that means millions of people are experiencing that reality. That you say something, and then even a few minutes later, the manifestation of your words, you see them in the environment. Life responded to what you said. Or next week, or a day goes by, or 2 days go by, a couple of hours go by. Whatever it is, you speak, and then you see the reaction of your words in life itself. You ever say, man, I wonder what so-and-so is doing right now. Then run into that very person. And then you say, I was just thinking about you. I was just talking about you. I just read some people always walking up to me going, I just saw you online. You're right here now. I just was watching you. Da-da-da. Now you're here. I was playing your record. Now you're here. And what I say to people when they do that, I say, you have a very powerful mind. You should harness that ability. If KRS is in your face right now and all you did was glance at my album or watch me online or something like this, and now I'm in your face, don't keep looking at me. Look at you. Look at how powerful your mind is, your being is, that you could intend something or experience something that life, the circumstances of life, brings to you, brings to your physical body. I mean, think about that for a hot minute. Think about that for a hot minute, that you can manipulate your own reality by what you intend inside. And if you say to yourself, that's bullshit, I don't, That's it. You took your power away because you believe it's bullshit. You believe that the power of positive thinking is bullshit. And there it is. You get that reality. Life responds to you, giving you all type of reasons why you should not be engaged in the power of positive thinking. You should not be engaged because you're saying I should not be engaged. So life is now telling you you should not be engaged because the inner is the outer. So now look how you're setting yourself up. Now somebody else like me will say, no, I believe, dude. I think that life is talking to me. Life starts talking. Like life starts talking to you. Life starts talking. You didn't hear me. I believe that life talks to me. So life talks to me. Now think about this. Whether there is an objective thing called life and it's talking to you, or you just psyching your own mind out. Let's go with the fact that you just psyching your own self out. You just making all this up in your own mind. Even if that's the case, what a wonderful way to psych yourself out. What a wonderful way to direct your mind or go crazy or insane in this reality. I believe that life walks with me and I talk with life and I tell life what we need. I tell life what life tells me what I'm going to get and what I need before I even know I need it. Me and life are in communication together. I care about life, so life cares about me. The universe is a mirror. What you do to it, it is doing to you. What you say to it, it says to you. So if you say, I don't believe in no universal mind, the universal mind says, I don't believe in you. Now you walking around with no universal mind. This is the switch right here. Even if you psyching yourself out, even if you making it all up in your own mind and gassing yourself in your own head, what a great way to gas yourself. What a great way to hype yourself, to believe that God's walking with you, to believe that life is an intelligent being unto itself and it is walking with you. You can't lose. You can't lose with God. You can't lose. There is nothing, even if God does not exist. If you psych yourself out to believe that one does, you win. You win. Everybody else says God does not exist, and we know it. We have absolute proof that God does not exist. We have proof that God does not exist. So I don't know what you're talking about. God does not exist. It's a figment of your imagination. I'll take that. I'll take that because all of hip hop is a figment of our imagination. The whole thing, okay? We just got a building the other day. Hip hop's been in existence for 50 years and we ain't never had no edifice dedicated to us. Never, ever had a building dedicated to us and our cultural organization. Never happened. People have opened hip-hop schools, but with their name on it. People have opened hip-hop schools, got grants and stuff, and government loans and business loans, and had to jump through all types of hoops to get it. And hip-hop had to be compromised for us to get that's what's been going on. Hip-hop as hip-hop, uncompromised, that only went down with the temple of hip-hop right now. But for 50 years, we had nothing. So imagine psyching yourself out right now. Psych yourself out. Yo, we psyched ourselves out into a building in Newark, New Jersey, and an entire town called hip-hopia. We psyched ourselves out with that. So I don't know whether hip-hopia is true, a figment of my imagination, or if the figments of my imagination become real. I don't know what it is. All I know is I got keys. That's all I know. Is I got like 3-4 sets of new keys that I didn't have before. That's what I know to be a fact in life. So whether God exists or whether God don't exist, the existence of God in your mind is what matters. That is what matters. Don't matter whether God exists or not. Who cares if God exists or not? The idea of God in your mind does exist, and it has real effects in the physical world. What you do to the universe does to you. What you say to the universe says to you. The way you appear before the universe appears before you. You are a mirror reflection of the universe. You and the universe are one thing. You and God are one thing. If you say God don't exist, then you don't exist as God. That's it. Now, somebody else in the same room says, I do believe that God exists. I got no evidence. I got no proof. It's called faith. I believe. Well, that belief has conquered whole nations. Whether you psych yourself, whether God is real, not real, all that argument is irrelevant. That's why we're philosophers. That's why we're philosophers. Because religion says you got to believe and have faith. And then you start hitting religion with real questions. Like Jesus was black, wasn't he? Why is he white on the wall? Oh, I'm sorry. We don't get him out of here. We don't want to talk about no real. That's religion. That's why nobody messing with religion, because they ain't got no answers. Then you go over to science, your racist asses. Now science wants to clean itself up. No, you're the eugenics program. So, okay, science. At one time, human beings were 3/5 of a human, scientifically. Okay? Science is worse than religion. At least religion says believe. Science tells you we got the facts. You niggas are animals. We got the facts. You black Negroes are less human than us white people. Those were scientific facts. The sun went around the earth. That was a fact. Science. That was a scientific fact. Scientific fact. Every year science changes because the whole concept of it is wrong. Objectively observing nature through mathematics is silly. That shit is silly. When you really think about it. Hold up, battery saver is on. Why am I not plugged in? Come on, what's happening here? I need my plug. My battery's getting low. So here, let me get this. Let me Simone, they can see you crawling around. See someone trying to not be in the camera. She crawled around on the floor. That's a moment of comedy. But anyway, my point here is that if whether God is real for you or not, okay, whether God is real for you, here, give me that. Whether God is real for you or not, that's not the point. The point is, are you real for you or not? That's the point. Are you real to you? Like I said, even if God is not real and we just psyching ourselves out, what a great psych out. What a great psych out. If God is not real, what a great psych out. But what if God is real? What if God is actually real and you playing games with a real entity in the universe, or outside of our we can't even explain God. Now imagine if there is an intelligence to the universe. Imagine if the universe understands, like life itself, like air and water are intelligent and they understand. Like air, oxygen, what we call oxygen, is watching you, playing with you, going in and out your body as you breathe it in and out. But it itself is aware. It itself is aware. What if that's the case? What if plants were alive? And look at how I'm saying it. What if plants were alive and could speak and had feeling and you could communicate? What kind of world would you live in if you had to communicate with plants like you communicate with people? If you had to marry a tree like you marry a spouse, that nature was that real to you, that even that you could understand the language of the trees, you could understand the language of the plants, you could understand the language of you understand the language of nature. You understand the language of nature. Imagine if you could do that. Well, our ancestors did. Our ancestors saw spirit in everything. Even after it was dead, the ancestors still saw spirit in it, energy coming off of it. And they spoke not to the physical, they spoke to the energy. They spoke to the energy, through the energy, as the energy. This is the mind state we need to return to build nations and civilizations. You can't be going around chopping down trees and expect to build civilization. You can't go around just killing things for no reason whatsoever and expect, and I'm talking about insects. You know, you see a roach go by, you become afraid or whatever, so you hit them with the raid or smash them on the wall or whatever it is. But ask yourself, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? I ran an experiment that I think came true. I just remembered this just now. I ran an experiment on roaches. So we bought this house. We got this house in Atlanta. And when we first got there was a roach, I don't want to say infestation, but those who live in woods, when you live in the woods or live around wooded areas where trees are above your house and your house is surrounded by trees, you get squirrels running around. Like you can hear them on your roof running across the roof. There's animals, there's bees, there's birds. There's cockroaches, not the little brown roaches running around, but the big outdoor roaches, okay, the ones that fly, okay, they're out there, and all kinds of insects and stuff are out there, moths and stuff hitting the light and all of that. I ran an experiment. So instead of killing all these beings, okay, because they're getting in my way, every time I saw, and it wasn't a lot, but it was frequent. Like, we had to go get the exterminator. We had to go, do the perimeter of the house. We had to bomb the place, all of this stuff. So as the months go on, we're noticing these roaches are coming back. They resilient, fighting back. So you see one or two on the wall, you see one, and these are the big cockroaches. These are not roaches that come around because you ain't take the garbage out. Not them roaches. These roaches are coming in your house regardless, okay? They're animals, okay? So you see them, we were seeing them around the house. So what we would do is we would capture them and throw them outside. We wouldn't kill them. We would capture them. Whenever we saw them in the house, we would capture them in a cup and a plate, capture them and throw them outside. It became a ritual with the whole family that we don't kill insects and stuff when they're in our house. We capture them and throw them outside. I did this for about almost a year, really like half of COVID, like almost all of COVID, we captured throughout. After a while, we noticed no more roaches. No more. We didn't get the exterminator. We didn't get none of that. Okay? They stopped coming in the house. Now, I just ran this experiment. Now, I'm going to do it again. I want to try to figure this out because, with science, it has to be a repeatable experiment that gives you the same result every time. Okay? So I ran this first one by. And I said, yo, let me capture these beings and throw them out. So I captured the being and threw them out. Now, these beings don't come around anymore. Ah. Are these roaches intelligent? Because they didn't want to be thrown out. Because I also noticed, like, in this year time of throwing roaches out of your house, they were also afraid. They were in the house because they were afraid. They were coming in the house to escape outside. Outside, they get eaten. The birds come. Whoop, they're out of here. Okay. So bees, both the big blue bees, the big ones, and the little ones, the yellow, black and yellow bees, they birds be eating them, chomping on them like they at Denny's, okay, somewhere. Birds just be coming to where you see it. You see the war going on in the sky, in the air, where insects are trying to get away and birds are swooping down, getting them, eating them. And this that you see the insects trying to hide from the bird. And I noticed because I tapped in to the life of the roach. And I was able to feel for a minute why they were coming in the house. And they were coming in the house because they were afraid of outside. They were getting eaten. So they're coming in for refuge. But after I kept throwing them back outside, they stopped coming around. That was coming in the house was no longer a safe place for them either. Although we didn't kill them, we would still put them outside. They had to still fend for themselves outside with the madness going on. So there's a way to communicate to nature if you slow down, get a little more sensitive, and put your reality aside for a minute and try to unite with the reality of another being. This is what intelligence actually is understanding. That's all intelligence is understanding, the ability to understand something. So to broaden your intelligence is not to read more books. That actually shrinks your intelligence, actually. But to really expand your intelligence is to try to understand the plight of another being, someone unlike yourself. And that goes for other humans of other cultures. Try to expand your consciousness to understand someone who doesn't look like you, or someone whose culture is not like yours, or whose ways or customs are not like yours. Try to expand your consciousness to understand them. You don't have to agree. I don't agree with roach life. I don't agree with dog life. Okay, dogs be living some crazy shit. Okay, I don't agree with dog life. I don't agree with roach life. I'm a human. Okay, I live a different life. But I do have the capacity to understand dog life. I know what a bone means to a dog. I understand that. Okay, if I'm going to sit down and start chomping on some salmon, I know dogs like salmon too. So do I cook just for me, or do I cook for him as if he's a buddy as well? And those who not own, but those who live with animals or live with other beings, I should say. You know, because calling these other beings animals is like calling them nigger, really. Because they're another being. You should just call them by their name. But we don't know their name, because when they tell us their name, we don't have no understanding. They go, arr, arr, arr. And what they're trying to say is we live in a reality that don't have names. We live in a reality where you're not identified by a name. You're identified by a smell. Like if you're a dog telling, I don't care what your name is. Let me sniff you down real quick. That's going to tell me everything about you. Let me sniff you down. But that's a whole different reality. Seeing the world through your nose as opposed to through your eyes or through your ears, and so on. You know, some creatures like bats see with their ears. You know, see with their ears. Dogs and others see with their nose? Can you expand your intelligence to operate in their world? This is the spiritual path. This is hip hop's spiritual path. That's why I emphasize it. I'm not dissing science, but y'all know y'all got some errors with you. I'm not dissing religion, but y'all know y'all ain't got no answers. We coming with philosophy, and that ain't all right either, because there's some craziness over there too, okay, with philosophy. But what we dealing with here is the truth. And when you deal with the truth, you'll find yourself in philosophy, religion, science, psychology, and all the others. Cosmology, you know, all the others. When you're dealing with truth. When you're dealing with truth, you not only have to give up your view of life and let life explain itself to you, but you gotta have patience. We're highlighting 122 to 127. We're talking about following life's outcome willingly. Let me read this part to you one more time because I veered off. I'm at 123 now. No, let me read 122 again. So as you become more and more attuned and in harmony with your true self, do not marvel at the miracles in your own life. The more you realize you, the more your environment shall cater to your vision of yourself. Listen, the more you realize you, the more your environment is going to cater to that you. Or in this case, it says, shall cater to your vision of yourself. Life itself responds to your vision of yourself. This is the secret. This is literally is a movie called The Secret. And they talk about this as well. Okay. You can go watch that after you watch Wonder Woman and see how they tear down the positive thinker. Go watch some positive thinkers. Being in harmony with your truth. Being in harmony with your truth. Not being in harmony with a religion, a philosophy, or a science. Being in harmony with your truth causes the so-called miracles in your life. And again, with such spiritual harmony, you will notice a certain exactness to the so-called random events of life, an exactness to the random events of your life. Why does the Temple of Hip Hop erect its edifice at the 50th anniversary? I've been trying to get this building for 2 years. We've been talking hip-hopia for however many years. It's in the 50th year of hip-hop that both 1520 comes alive. Hip-hop as culture is known around the world now. We're at 55 Ludlow now, all in the 50th. These are supposed to be random events. 1520 has nothing to do with 55 Ludlow as far as buildings or even cities and states and people are concerned. These are two entirely different establishments. How do they both randomly come together on the 50th? You will always, again, with such spiritual harmony, you will notice a certain exactness to the so-called random events of your life. The so-called random events, you'll notice the exactness of them. You will always be right on time and in harmony with life's events. Do not be amazed or try to over-intellectualize the miraculous events of your spiritual life. Go with the flow. Go with the flow. Follow life's outcome willingly. Expect to have things go your way, even if such a way appears impossible at the time, or the results of your actions do not prove favorable right then and there. You better hear this. I'm going to say it one more time. Do not be amazed or try to hold on. It says you might want to plug something up. Hold on 1 second, y'all.
You plugged it in? You didn't plug it in.
No, I did.
No, you didn't plug it in the wall.
Oh, well, come on.
Oh.
Here, do this, because I can't get up from
I
here.
got it.
Here, where's the,
I got it.
okay. I thought I plugged in last time. I didn't know. What is that? I don't want this thing to go off, and we're right there at the end. Okay, all right, here we go. We're good now. We're good now. Okay, good. All right. Let me continue, y'all. Do not be amazed or try to over-intellectualize the miraculous events of your spiritual life. Like when we walked into 55 Ludlow, I just kept my composure. I just walked in with poker face on, just right. And the breaking room is going to be over here, and the MCing room is going to be here. We're going to teach graffiti right here. We're gonna don't marvel, don't bug out. You know, it reminds me of when my first record came out, South Bronx, and I was mopping floors in Brooklyn at a nursery, at a daycare nursery center. And every day at about 4 o'clock, the nursery center would close. People would, the parents would come and pick up their children and so on. So I turned on the radio low, little radio, turn it on low. The Kiss FM Red Alert was coming on. I turn the radio low. I sweep the floor, mop it, and then wax the floor. That was my job 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I come, I do the floors. That's what it was. One day, I walk in, I'm mopping the floor. I turn the radio on while I'm waxing the floor. The music comes on. South Bronx, South Bronx. First time I heard my record on the radio. South Bronx, South Bronx. Record come on. Many people tell me this style is terrific. I'm like, oh, whoa. But guess what? I'm mopping the floor. I'm like this. I tell a story all the time. I'm mopping the floor and I'm hearing my record blast. But if I say something, I lose my job. Like, you can't bug out. Like, and nobody cares either. Okay, nobody. These people are there to pick up their kids. The owner of the place is trying to deal with the parents. And in the midst of all this other stuff going on, my record comes on the radio real low and only I can hear it. And it's like, oh, and all of New York is jamming right now. I'm mopping the floor, listening to my record play, can't respond to it because I got to do this job real quick right now. This is the discipline. This is what we're reading about right here. Do not be amazed or try to over-intellectualize. Yeah, well, that only happened because that happened, and that happened because that, then you just over-intellectualize yourself outside the blessing. The over-intellectualize the miraculous events of your spiritual life. Go with the flow, which is follow life's outcome willingly. Don't follow life's outcome worrying. Follow life's outcome willingly. Expect to have things go your way, even if such a way appears impossible at the time or the results of your actions do not prove favorable right then and there. Let me hit you with it again. Expect to have things go your way, even if such a way appears impossible. This is the key. This is what Ernest Holmes was talking about in his book Science of Mind. This is what James Allen talks about in As a Man Thinketh. This is what The Secret, the DVD that I just told you about, they talk about this too. When you're using these kinds of principles to manipulate your life, to bring the reality you want in your life to your life, to really be able to do that, not only do you have to expect things to go your way, but you have to dream big. It has to be impossible. So when it comes, you know it was God, and you know it was the power of these sciences. You know, because it all works. Your ancestors are working. The force of God is working. and your own mind is working. All of it is really the same thing. You, your ancestors, God, life, really all the same thing. But we didn't get there yet. The oneness of all of this, we didn't get there yet. It is in our consciousness. You know, we're still over here trying to say, well, God, you over there, life is over here, I'm over here, and my circumstances over here. No, the new mentality is all that's you. All of it's you. All of it's you. Whether it's individual aspects of you that really exist, God really exists, and it's you. Your ancestors really exist, and they're you. Your mind really exists, and it's you. Life really exists, and it's you. Even if that's the case, these are objective things that are also you. They're still you. Even if you say none of that exists, you psyching yourself out, psyching your mind out. You making all this up. This is a figment of your imagination. So what? You're still going to manifest the results of your own being. You're going to manifest that. So it doesn't matter what God is, what God isn't. Does God exist? Does God not exist? Am I a spiritual being? Am I not a spiritual being? Is life conscious? Is life not conscious? Is the universe looking at me? Is the universe not? Where's my ancestors? Do we really go to another place? Can my ancestors really see me? All of this is irrelevant. What's relevant is, what do you think? That's what's relevant. What do you think? What do you allow yourself to think? What do you allow yourself to think? If you can't understand the view of something other than yourself, then you're trapped in yourself only. Freedom from the body is to understand the existence of another being, to have your mind leave the body, leave in this understanding and enter the understanding of a roach, enter the understanding of a bird, enter the understanding of a dog, a cat, enter the understanding of fish, enter the understanding of another human being that shares a different culture or different gender or different sexual orientation or different education, just different from you. Can you function in a world where people are different from you? People seem to have a problem with that. Low intelligence. And I'm not dissing. I'm not dissing nobody, okay? But again, understand the lesson. If you only understand your world your way, you're not expanding your intelligence. You're stuck in your own understanding of yourself. That's a prison. In order to learn something, you got to come out of your comfort zone. Come out of what you think you know. Come out of what you confirm as reality. But to do that gives you anxiety because you're afraid. I'm outside my comfort zone. What's going to happen to me? Most people think that when they're challenged by something, they're going to lose. That's why people don't want to be challenged, because they say to themselves, if I'm challenged, I'm going to lose. So I don't want to get challenged. I'm going to stay right here. You never think to yourself, if I'm challenged, I'm going to win. You don't have that much confidence in yourself. You don't think like that. And those that do, you say they're narcissistic. They're arrogant. They're egotistical. They're self-centered. They believe they know. But you sit with nothing while those you criticize go on to live the best lives they can possibly live. Really think about that. Everybody you criticize and live in their life. They live in their life. They got some guy, I don't want to call his name, but you know who I'm talking about. The senator or I think it's a senator or congressman or somebody in the government that's been caught lying. You know the dude. Lying about everything. His career, everything he did, is his past, all lies. Okay, all lies. He's just lying. Okay. This is what it is. So, I mentioned, actually, I'm forgetting why I even mentioned this dude. But what I'm coming to is, well, you know what? Let me just forget it, because I actually forget. And what I'm thinking about is that I need to read this and get through this. I'm giving you too many examples. It'll come back to me. Just left my thought. But let me just continue. It'll come back to me. Expect to have things go your way, even if such a way appears impossible. That's the line I was really trying to get to. That when you use these techniques, think big. When I first started to use these techniques, I used them for hip hop. And I said, what hip hop needs is its own city. And when we said this 27 years ago, it was impossible. Do you understand the word impossible? It was impossible. Now today is possible. Do you see what's going on? Even if such a way appears impossible at the time, or the results of your actions do not prove favorable right then and there. That's the next piece. We're talking about patience too, by the way. As a teacher, you are always in harmony with life itself. Listen, as a teacher, you are always, that's the word, always in harmony with life itself. Sometimes things will happen that appear out of your control or unproductive to your work. But hold on. Your physical senses cannot sense your entire being. They can only sense the happenings of your physical existence. You, on the other hand, operate in several dimensions at once. And by the way, we wrote this, now they call it the multiverse. They got a word for it now, the multiverse. We was already on this back in the days. You, and on the other hand, operate in several dimensions at once. So what appears to be a disaster in the present may not be so in the future. And what appears to you in your space may be simply, and what happens to you in your space may be necessary for the prevention of something even more dangerous happening to you in another place. This is about patience now. We're talking about how to walk the path, okay? How to walk the path. Listen to this. One more time. As a teacher, you are always in harmony with life itself. If you're walking this path, you're always in harmony with life itself. That's what you got to realize. When you're in a traffic jam, it's for your own good. When somebody steals from you, it's for your own good. You get in a car accident, it's for your own good. You avoid the car accident, it's for your own good. Everything happening to you is for your own good, because you're on a good path. Sometimes things will happen that appear out of your control or unproductive to your work. But hold on, your physical senses cannot sense your entire being. They can only sense the happenings of your physical existence. You, on the other hand, operate in several dimensions at once. So what appears to be a disaster in the present may not be so in the future. And what happens to you in your space, may be necessary for the prevention of something even more dangerous happening to you in another place. Remember, for those who live principled lives, that's the key. You got to live a principled life. For those that live principled lives, all of our so-called accidents are for our own good and further development. Our God is always working toward the fulfillment of our well-being, even when our conscious minds are unaware of it. Again, go with the flow. Follow life's outcome willingly. Now, what I want you to do is highlight all of that, because when you're teaching the gospel and you're going to be teaching on patience, I'm going to connect you to several pieces now. So we got this one piece. Highlight that. Page 489, you're highlighting 122 to 127. And what you're doing is you're putting patience on that. This is a lesson in patience. Now go to page 329 in the Gospel of Hip Hop. Go to page 329 in the Gospel of Hip Hop. 329, Gospel of Hip Hop. What we're going to do is we're going to read paragraphs 70, 71, and 72. Paragraphs 70, 71, and 72. And you're highlighting this. Highlight paragraphs 70, 71, and 72. Let's read them now. Likewise, knowing the repeated patterns of life puts the knower in direct relation with the existence and movement of God, the love that moves our movement. And without knowledge of God, we are blind to God's activity in our lives. Often what we call errors and mistakes are actually God's guidance. Did you hear that? I'll say it again. Often what we call errors and mistakes are actually God's guidance. To get us to arrive at where we are supposed to be, we are often led through a variety of other seemingly unrelated activities and events. This is the path. This is what happens. You say you get the urge for baked chicken. I got the urge for baked chicken. What's this? I got no chicken. Let me run down to the supermarket. But you noticed that the night before that, you was in need of a photographer. You said, look, I need to shoot an album cover. I'm trying to get a photographer. How do I get a photographer? I'm not going to go online. So you just throw it in and say, I'll get to it at some point. Then God says, you want chicken. You want baked chicken with the sauce and the gravy, don't you? You like, word. You get up and you go to the supermarket, or you go to a restaurant, or you go wherever you think that baked chicken is. You get there, and there's where the photographer is. And it's exact, because you say, I came here for the baked chicken, but I met you, and I need to talk to you on a whole nother level. We're both here for the baked chicken. It was the chicken that made me meet. It was the urge, I should say, to eat baked chicken, which put me in a baked chicken environment, which then gave me what I really wanted, or what God really wanted me to see. You know, we are like animals to divine beings. We're led by bones and all types of stuff. You know, we're led by this. We're tempted along. God tempts you, along the spiritual path. Puts things in front of you to make you run towards your own enlightenment. But you got to give your heart to the path. Your intent has to be, I'm an enlightened being, and I want to come into myself. I want to actually be the enlightened being that I believe that I am. You have to have that intent on your heart. You got to have love on your heart. You got to have mercy, forgiveness. Come on, the divine performance. It got to be your being. When that's your being, you get all this. This is what we did. Let's read 70. Likewise, knowing the repeated patterns of life itself puts the knower in direct relation with the existence and movement of God, which is the love that moves our movement. And without knowledge of God, without knowing this love, this care for us, we are blind to God's activity in our lives. Often, what we call errors and mistakes are actually God's guidance. To get us to arrive at where we are supposed to be, we are often led through a variety of other seemingly unrelated activities and events. Instead of moving harmoniously with God in ignorance, we get in our own way, trying to correct ourselves, preventing God from guiding us toward our ultimate peace and joy. This is what guilt does. Big up G Simone again, who's crawling on the floor over here. Giving up inspirational living towards yourself. It's what happens when you're guilty. Giving up. What are you doing when you're being guilty? You're giving up inspirational living towards yourself. And look at what it does. Instead of moving harmoniously with God without guilt, in ignorance, we get in our own way trying to correct ourselves, preventing God from guiding us toward our ultimate peace and joy. In such ignorance, we must settle for guessing what God is doing in our lives as opposed to knowing what God is doing in our lives, assisting God in the perfection of our lives. I know what you're doing in my life, God, and I'm going to help you do it. Everything happens in season, in its proper time. And failure to move within life's seasons is what causes stress and loss. Knowing that yours is coming in due season produces the virtue of patience and gives one strength to endure while waiting for one's season to kick in. Okay, let me hit you with that last part one more time. Knowing that yours is coming, but you got to know that. Knowing that yours is coming in due season produces the virtue of patience. Did you hear it? Knowing that what's rightfully yours is coming your way, this produces the virtue of patience. Patience don't produce patience. Knowing that you're going to get what you're going to get produces patience. Mothers know that after 9 months, or supposedly, you're going to have a baby. Chefs know that you put this thing in the oven, 45 minutes later, it's going to come out this other thing. So they have patience. Architects and construction workers that sit there and you look at this, when they first dig the hole to put the building, and you're like, they're never going to finish that. They just started digging the hole. But they know what the finished work is. So they develop the virtue of patience because they know what the finished work is. They know what the architect is doing. So God being the great architect, if you don't know the blueprint, now you can get stressed. You could have anxiety now. You could become depressed because you're guessing what God got for you as opposed to knowing what God got for you. I knew God was going to erect a city. I knew it. Had no proof. It was impossible. But from the time I was homeless, God taught me how to speak to her. And I started talking from the homeless days. So by the time we get up now to my records coming out, I'm like, God, I know you real. I can't be an atheist. I'm a philosopher. I love atheism, the philosophy of it. I just don't have the privilege. God is real. I can't front on nothing. Okay, God for me is real. Now, for somebody else, God ain't real. That's on you, and I don't disrespect that. God ain't real for you. I understand that. Japanese ain't real for me. The language, Japanese, the language Russian, or Chinese, or, even some African languages, they ain't real for me. Okay? English is what's real for me. That's what I'm talking right now. Whether I like it or not, don't matter. English is what's real for me. But can you get with something else that's not really real? Can you expand your intelligence? Can you, listen, highlight 70, 71, and 72. Knowing that yours is coming in due season produces the virtue of patience and gives one strength to endure while waiting for one's season to kick in. Temple of Hip Hop, our season just kicked in. It was the 50th anniversary. I didn't know that. I wasn't planning on no 50th anniversary for then to open the Temple of Hip Hop. We've had all kinds of temple buildings, storefronts, spaces we've rented, all type of stuff. But why the 50th anniversary of hip hop? Now all of this is coming to its head now. I do a rhyme in still number one that now we stop for a minute. As I say, rap isn't even 20 years old. 50 years down the line, you can start this because we'll be the old school artist. Now when I do still number one, we stop on that 50. Why did I say 50 years? I could have said 30 years, 100 years. Specifically in 1988, I said, because no one's from the old school. Why? Because rap is still a brand new tool. I say no one's from the old school because rap on a whole, and I'm saying this in 1988, isn't even 20 years old. 50 years down the line, you can start this because we'll be the old school artists. And I'm saying this in 1988, but I'm seeing the vision ahead. I'm seeing it like I'm looking at this screen right now. I can see hip-hopia, and I can see hip-hop as culture, and I can see us grand, and I see in those times, I'm called old school. Now imagine in 88, I was the freshest, newest artist out. Old school was Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, and the Treacherous Three, Funky 4 plus 1 more, Fearless 4, Zulu Nation, Herc. All these people were old school. Okay? So I'm talking to Melly Mel at the time in Latin Quarters where this rhyme came up. I'm saying, we not old school. None of us are old school. 50 years down the line, we could then say we old school. And what was the prophecy? 50 years down the line, you can start this because we'll be the old school artists. And even in that time, I'm saying rhymes, a brand new style, rootless and wild, running around, spending money, having fun. Because today, we still number one. Do you understand that? And the one today is not one like you on top, although there's that too. But it's one like you at the beginning again. We still number one. We're still one. We're still the one. We're still number one. Everything else is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We are still at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, number one. The 55 Ludlow address in Newark, New Jersey is Temple, number one. The surrounding area is hip-hopia, number one. It's the first hip-hopia. So we're still number one. We're still the initiators. We're still the pioneers, the inventors, the architects. We're still the number one, the seed. That's 70, 71, and 72. What are we talking about? Patience. How to be patient and wait for your turn. Wait for your season to kick in. How do you do that? You don't do that worrying and hoping and all that. You don't do that way. You got to know. Psych your head out. Whether God is real or not, you got to know that your goals are real. Psych yourself out. Give yourself a God. Imagine if you can manipulate reality by believing in God, why wouldn't you just believe in God then? Forget, and I'm saying this, forget whether God is real or not. We're not dealing with God's real. No, God's not real. No. The concept of God says you link with this and you get to manipulate your reality. That's the concept of it. You link with this in your own mind. God don't have to be real. But if you really believe this concept, these principles, if you can walk like a God, the payoff is that life walks with you and you get to tell life what you want it to be to you. This is an ancient science I'm giving to you right now. Those that have ears to hear it, hear it. Hear it. Because only kings hear this. And I'm talking about women too. Okay? Kings hear this. Gods hear this. Everybody not going to hear this because everybody ain't ordained to do this. Only those that are ordained to do this is going to really understand what I'm saying. God don't matter. You think God cares whether you believe in God or not? No. What's important is not whether God exists. The importance is, do you believe that God does? This is why faith is so important in your spiritual walk, and why philosophy is even more important in your spiritual walk. Because instead of just telling you to have faith, philosophy tells you why you have to have faith. Religion don't tell you why you have to have faith. Religion tells you what you get after the faith. Have faith, you enter the kingdom of heaven. Have faith, and your sickness is gone. Have faith, and you walk out of the prison. Have faith, and craziness starts happening, okay? Good for you. That's religion. Philosophy says, here's why and how to have faith. Here's why you need to have faith, and here's how. Here's the mechanics of it. The mechanics of faith is, it don't matter whether I believe in hip hop or not. It don't matter whether I believe in rap or rapper. None of that matters. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter whether these things exist or not. What matters is, do I believe in them? Unicorns don't have to exist. I think Rene Descartes talked about this, famous European philosopher, Rene Descartes. He's the one who came up with I think, therefore I am. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. The original was I doubt, therefore I am, or I question, therefore I am. But the English version is I think, therefore I am. And the idea was, one of the things go back and read Rene Descartes if you need to. But there was an analogy there about a unicorn. And the philosopher would say, it don't matter whether unicorns exist or not. We all know a horse with a horn coming out. Unicorns don't exist. What matters is, do you believe they do? Because reality is based on what the mind perceives. Reality is not out here. Reality is in here. Reality, you don't see with your eyes, you see with your mind. These two things here are not seeing. They're interpreting light. But your brain, your mind, your understanding is what's actually seeing. It's your understanding that's seeing, not your eyes. Because whatever you don't understand, you don't see. Whatever you don't have a word for, you overlook. We taught that lesson too. You know that's in the gospel. The electrician, the painter, and the plumber. Okay, go back to that. Words have a major, you see according to your vocabulary. Most people see according to their vocabulary. What you don't have a word for, you don't see. So imagine if you don't have a word, God. I mean, God might be the greatest human invention of all time. God. Whether God exists or not is irrelevant. Irrelevant. What's relevant is, do you exist or not? And what does that existence believe about itself? Your existence creates itself. So what are you creating? I don't believe in no God. Gods. You better get out here and get a job. And so it is. 99.9 people out here jobbing it. Life going nowhere. And I mean that. Some have rewarding jobs, but most of us out here just got this bullshit job so we could pay bills. But that job is sucking your life away because you're not brave enough to live your actual life, which may include homelessness, which may include hunger, which may include you getting married, which may include you getting divorced. which may include you having an abortion, may include you having that baby. You got to make a decision for yourself based on your existence. And what I'm telling you is, it is better to seek ye first the kingdom of God and all its righteousness, and then all the world will be added to you. You ain't got to chase the world. These things are going to fall into your lap. Let's read on. Go to page 317. Go to page now 317 in the gospel. 317 in the gospel. We're highlighting paragraphs 17, 18, and 19. 7 and 20. 17 to 20. 4 paragraphs. 17 to 20. Okay, 17 to 20. In fact, as I read this, well, I'll read the other one, but the one we want to highlight is 17 to 20. Here we go now. This is don't fight, chase after your opportunities. Realize what is real for you and wait for the season to kick in. 17, paragraph 17 on page 38, paragraph 17 on page 317. For true power is given when God upsets the normal order of human civilization, causing shifts in public demand, which causes a redistribution or reallocation of worldly wealth and influence. Everyone eventually gets an opportunity to govern their world. The question is, what are you prepared for? How shall you govern? Even the sunny days are temporary. With a knowledge of life's seasons, we know that it is always some unexpected turn of events that changes everything and opens doors that did not even exist before. Therefore, stay true to your purpose in life. Perform patience. Oh, man. Perform patience. No matter how humble or grand, be true to your life's purpose and envy not the achievement of others. For the material world is truly temporary. And, well, I'll keep on. Therefore, do not become aggravated, angry, worried, or disappointed with those who appear to be in worldly power today. For in a minute, they shall be in power no more, and the effects of their temporary power and prestige shall also fade away. We have seen this too many times. You better hear me. This is 2009 and written before even that period, okay? Remember, the closer you get to the front of the gospel, the earlier we're writing, okay? And look at this. I want to read this part. Therefore, do not become aggravated. See, this is back in 2009, really from 9/11, really from back in 2001, after we declared declared hip hop an international culture of peace and prosperity, laid out the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. A couple of months later, because we did that in May, months later, September of the same year, 2 planes fly through the World Trade Center, brought down the World Trade Center, and that was 9/11 on that day, September 11th, on that day. Now, during that time, okay, there were people in power. First of all, George Bush was in power. Now, think about this. George Bush Jr., the son, is in power. All of his constituents are in power too. Like the mayor of Newark at the time, the mayor of New York at the time. the mayor of Camden at the time, the mayor of Washington, D.C., the mayor of Philadelphia, the mayor of Garden Grove, California. None of these people were in office. You're not hearing me. You're not reading your gospel right now. It's not hitting you. None of the people were in. When we wrote this, what I was saying was impossible. Impossible. But we knew the law. We knew the techniques. We knew the principles, and that's why we're writing them. So nobody can say, oh, Chris, y'all coming up with that now. Oh, yeah, now. It's the 50th anniversary. Now you want to talk all this spiritual stuff. Nope. We've been talking this for 27 years. And even before that, the temple came alive during that time, 27 years ago. But before that, you know what it was. It was all types of other movements we were dealing with before we even got here. Okay, no, we documented the prophecy so that when it came true, we knew it was God that did this for us. There's no doubt, there's nothing, okay, because when we said all this, it was impossible. Hear it again. For the material world is truly temporary. You better hear. The material world is truly temporary. What happened to all the bottles of Cristal? When I was writing this, the Cristal was popping. Okay, the Maybach was the car. The Benz, the this, the that, the ice on the neck. I'm wearing a house on my wrist. This is what they were pushing as hip hop, not just rap, hip hop. This is what your community is about. We had people in office that was against hip hop. But we were walking with the sovereign power of the universe itself. Look, you better hear me. The sovereign power of the universe itself, universal mind, came to us and said, here's what we're going to do. Don't think about the people who are in power today. Think about how you're going to govern when I move these people out the way. Oh, you better hear God. You better humble yourself before the governor of this universe. Okay, forget the governor of some land or the governor of some state or the governor of a city. No, the governor of the universe told us this. And we wrote this down in meditation. Can I hit it? Let me hit you with it one more again. Okay, let me hit you. For the material world is truly temporary. Therefore, do not become aggravated, angry. These are the words. This is what we were going through right after 9/11. Do not become aggravated, angry, worried, or disappointed. These are key words, okay? Because this is what it was like. People were aggravated, angry, worried, and disappointed. We said, do not become aggravated, angry, worried, or disappointed with those who appear to be in worldly power today. Don't be mad at these people. For in a minute, they shall be in power no more, and the effects of their temporary power and prestige shall also fade away. We have seen this too many times. Not that we wish harm or failure upon anyone. Such is not the character of an attuned hip-hopper. So keep in mind, we're not wishing no harm on nobody. We're not wishing failure on nobody, and we're writing it so that it's clear. We're not wishing no failure, no harm on nobody. However, it is a fact that the world and worldly circumstances are indeed temporary. For those who chase after the pleasures, powers, and items of the world shall chase after things that are temporary in their existence. Be still. Be committed to your life purpose and perform patience. It is inevitable that your day will come again. The word again is on there. Stay focused. Because we know that this happens repeatedly. That's why this is written in the seasons. We're talking about the cycles of life, and we're saying if you know the cycles of life, anxiety leaves you, depression leaves you, because you know yours is coming. Just be patient. Come on, you gotta wait. You know, you want the cornbread. You smell the cornbread cooking. You smell it, but you gotta wait 45 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You gotta wait. You gotta make the batter, put everything together, hook up the pan, and then put it in the oven. And what happens? You gotta wait. You want that good split pea soup. You want that lentil soup. Everybody know to cook soup take hours. Okay, to cook a soup, a good soup. It'll take some hours. You gotta wait. But the reason you could wait on the soup and not on your life is because you see the soup and you know the soup is there. You know you cut up all type of carrot, banana. Let me put that in the soup, I don't know. But you cut up all type of carrot, onion, celery, potato. You put everything in there, but you just got to wait for it to boil now. And you got to get that boil up, but you know you're going to eat. So the anxiety leaves you. In fact, you can even do the work of putting the soup together while you're hungry, because you know the end result is going to take away the hunger. So you're not hungry even while you prepare food, because you know I'm preparing the food to take away the hunger. But you don't know God like that. Like that. You say, I know my dreams are coming true. Why? Because God exists. And somebody say, man, get out of here. God don't exist. God exists for me. I know God may not exist for you. That's cool. And I'm not taking nothing away from you. But God exists for me. And my God tells me to tell my God. God tells me, give me a task that's impossible so I could prove to you that you and me are together. Give me a task. God, I wanna, okay, it has to be impossible. Okay, not silly. Let me also put that disclaimer on it. Not silly, not stupid. Like, God, I want to walk to the moon. I want to build a staircase from here to the moon. Get out of here. You don't even understand the sciences. That's not, God, I want $1 million. You don't understand that when you're talking to the universe has no need to satisfy any of your needs. God, I want to pay my rent. You're unworthy. God, I want a new car. Unworthy. God, because what you doing? I want. I'm afraid. So I want $1 million. Why? Because I'm scared to be poor. I want a big house. Why? Because I'm scared of a little one. I feel uncomfortable in a little house. One bedroom or one room, I feel uncomfortable. I want a big house so my friends could come over and I can look large, unqualified. Here's the qualified person. Lord God, you have always been there for me. As I look back on my life, I can see I did not even make it here on my own. God, I recognize you for bringing me right to where I am right now. But Lord God, I'm impressed upon my spirit. My people need something. My culture needs something. My family needs something. God, I'm coming to you, not for me, because you already got me. I'm coming for my family, God. I'm coming for my children, God. I'm coming for my nation, God. I'm coming for my block, God. Can you empower me to empower others, God? Give me your responsibility on earth, God, and give me the strength to hold it up. This is a worthy person. This is the language of a worthy person. Now you come before God, not for yourself, not in fear, not in lack and limitations. You come before God boldly because God already hooked you. Okay, you already recognize, yo, that thing last time, only God could have got me out of that. Only God could have provided that. So I take that and I come before God and I say, God, I know you there with me. I know. Now imagine somebody could be right next to you going, God ain't real. But you gonna say, I know you think that. I know you think that. But just give me 5 minutes. I just need to talk to God. Okay, you go ahead and think that. I know you don't think ODB is real because you never met him. And now he's on the other side, so you'll never meet him. So those that never met ODB, imagine 2, 3, 4, 500 years from now, ODB is a myth. And you still believe in ODB, old dirty bastard. You still believe in that? Right, you never met the man. You don't know him. You don't know. And the same thing with God. You never met God. And now that God is on the other side, you might not even ever get to meet God. So when you say God don't exist, I understand your plight. You never knew old dirty bastard. You never knew Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael. You never knew Garvey's family. You never knew these. So civil rights movement don't mean nothing to you. Because you never met these people. So because you never met them and they're outside of your psychology, you try to put that on me. I met ODB. Okay, smoked the split with ODB. Okay, drank the Henny with ODB. Okay, I know ODB. Now I'll always shout his name, ODB. Old dirty bastard, who changed his name to Osiris just before he went to the other side. And out of all names to change himself to, Osiris, the resurrection. You don't even, hip hop is so magnificent, okay? He went from an old dirty bastard to Osiris, okay? Just front if you like, but if you don't know his daughter, who's a photographer now, rolled up on us on several occasions. If you don't know his daughter, then obviously the legacy of ODB is not gonna really, there's nothing there for you because you don't really know them. Same thing with God. If you don't know God or God's family, then God don't exist for you. You never met him or her or it or them. You never met gods, so they don't exist for you. But I'm hoping that the Temple of Hip Hop is showing you an example of true gods, real gods. We the real gods. We the real gods because we roll with the real God. We're not gods because we say we are. We're gods because we got evidence. We got precedence. We got providence. We got history. I could point to facts. Forget believe. And we did that for 27 years. We did faith. Now we're not faith no more. There's an address with real keys, real bills, real heating, real window break. You got to replace the window. Real toilet broke. You got to replace the toilet. We're not in faith no more. God is real. Now, either you can sit there and say, well, I still don't know. I still don't see. I still don't understand. Okay. Everything happens in due season. Might not be your season. You might not be ready for this right now, no doubt. And I leave it at that. We all grow. But I'm giving you this lesson right now for you to really get it. For you to really get it. I'm hoping we're giving you an example of God in manifestation. It starts with be patient. When you know God, patience is on you. Because you say, I know God. God, you always come through for us. So God said, what's going to help hip hop, Chris? And imagine, you are God. God is you. So you're really talking to yourself, but you're not. God is God. You are you. But you are God and God is you. We talked about that too, the nature of the truth. It is, but it isn't. But it is. The nature of the truth. You are God, but you're not God. But you are God. This is not a brain intelligence. This is divine intelligence. Can you understand divinity? If you could understand divinity and how it really functions with evidence and proof and facts, if you understand divinity and how it functions, then patience is easy. Anxiety, want, stress, because you don't have, leaves you. It leaves you. The real issue is, do you believe in God or not? That's the real issue. And you're being tested on this. Do you believe in God? If you really believe in God, ask for impossible things and then have the faith on them to have them manifest. If you believe in God, don't just believe with no activity, they say faith without works is dead. That's the Bible. Faith with no work is dead faith. Don't have no dead faith. Put your faith on something impossible, but something needed, something you need, your family needs. And like I said, the real prayer is when you don't pray for yourself, you pray for your family, you pray for you pray for your community, because the one who knows that God is walking with him don't need nothing. And that's the secret. You go before God, God, I'm in need. God, you don't understand. God already got you and understands everything you need before you open your mouth. Sometimes you have to say, God, I need this, only to confirm to yourself that you need it, because it's God speaking through you. You may say, I need this, but it's really God saying, you're going to get this. But your comprehension is, I need it. No, God's saying, you're going to get it. But you got to have faith first. And then when that faith happens, it's no more faith. It's knowledge now. It's not faith in God or belief in God. It's knowledge of God, knowledge of self. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. That's the full statement. Know thyself. It says, man, know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. That's the full statement of know thyself. And so the last part of this is stay focused. Stay focused. Be still. Be committed to your life purpose and perform patience. Highlight that. Highlight 17, 18, 19, and 20, beginning at page 317. Let's now go to page 165 of the Gospel of Hip Hop. Page 165, you'll see we're going to the divine performance now, the part where it says perform patience. We're going to highlight from the very beginning of perform patience all the way down to 2. We're highlighting the beginning part, then paragraph 1 and paragraph 2. We're highlighting all of this. Now, mind you, what we're doing today is this is a lesson in patience. And when you wind up teaching this lesson, I'm walking you through some of the highlights where you could turn in the gospel to teach this lesson. And this is one of the beginning lessons that you teach people who have not yet come to the gospel or have not come even to God in their lives. Or maybe some people are, straddling the fence with their spirituality. When you come to teach people spirituality for the first time, patience is a key virtue, because without knowledge of how to be patient, you will get stressed. You will get stressed, straight up and down. You could feel weak and lost without this knowledge. Hold on, y'all. Let me get this. I need a little bit of water. Well, go to perform patience now. We're on page 165. Here we go. Perform patience. And we're highlighting from the 6, perform patience, 1 and 2. Perform patience. Practice expressing calm endurance, silent strength, and inner resolve. these lead to patience. Let's go over this again. Practice, okay? You got to keep doing it. Practice expressing calm endurance. Calm endurance, which means you're enduring something, but you're calm about it. Practice the art of calm endurance. Silent strength. Be strong. We don't have to be running up and down about it. Silent strength is like what you do with your family, nobody sees. Silent strength is the you fighting off a temptation and when no one's around. Doing the right thing because it's right and no reward. That's silent strength. And inner resolve. That's what we just spoke about. Inner resolve. I'm at peace with myself. I've resolved this in myself. I've solved this issue in myself. I know God got me. So the one who knows God got him is the one who could pray to God. Because you know, whether you psych yourself out to know, your psych out is the key to you getting into your psych out. Your psych out is the key to you getting into your psych out. Okay? Either you psych yourself out and you're just using power of mind, or God is real and you're responding to an actual deity, a real being. Either way, the result is the same. Either way, whether God is real or God is fake, you psych your head out to the concept of God. You good to go. You good to go. Is a unicorn real? No. But if the mind perceives that the unicorn is real, then the unicorn is real because you're only seeing according to your mind. That's inner resolve. I've come to terms with this in myself. When I made my first record, South Bronx, I had inner resolve. That was my inner resolve. Because from age, say, 14, 13, or whatever, I started rhyming. From around that age, 12, 13, 14, I wanted to be a rapper. And I used to say, the greatest rapper of all time, before we even use those words. I used to say, I'm going to be the greatest rapper of all time. And I didn't even know what I was saying, really. Because rap wasn't even an industry. We were in the park doing this, okay? And I was like, I'm doing this. Like, this is it. And I was content with staying in the park. And just all day we do the park and I put the hat out and we're going to make money. You know, you're going to donate, you know, after my performance. After every performance, you donate. I was willing to live a whole life like that. Homeless, performing hip hop for donations. That's why I was ready. That was I had inner resolve. That was my life. I said, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. I'm not getting no job. I'm not doing nothing. I'm going to live in the street. I'm going to sleep on the train. I'm going to even eat out the garbage cans wherever I could. I'm going to go and get that dumpster. I'm going to eat out the dumpster because I'm going to live this particular life. And I tell you the truth, I don't even know what made me even think like that. It's just who I was. And I'm not fronting on it or lying about it or trying to cover it up. It's just what I was about. And I said, no, this is the life I'm going to live. And I really gave up my whole life. Gave up everything. I just said, look, I'm going to live hip hop, man. That's it. This little thing we doing in the park. That's where I'm going to live. That's going to be my life. And I took it there. And I said to God right there, I said, God, if you're real, then I'm going to make a record. I'm going to have a record deal. I'm going to make a record. If you're real. And at the time, it was impossible. I'm saying these affirmations on the train. And I'm saying even as a 14, 15-year-old, 16 on the train, I'm saying, God, you are real to me. Now you got to come forward, God, because I know you real. This is how I'm speaking at 14, which is why it's so Important for our young people to get this knowledge before your brain, wires up. Get this knowledge. I'm 14, 15. I'm rolling up on God saying, God, you got to come real. Nobody believes in you, God. Why are you so quiet? I used to speak to God just like this. Why are you so quiet? Why are you so... Don't you know that people need you? This is why I'm talking to God just at 14, 15. And that led me out in the street. Left home. Mother bugging, okay? Brother bugging. My brother's name is Candy, okay? Wow, okay? I left home. What? God is real. Not this bullshit I'm living. No, God is real. And I don't know what made me think that. I don't know what, but I knew that God was real. From a very young age, I knew this. And that's how I patterned my life. That's what gave me the strength to leave home. Because I said, God, you are real and I know you got me. So I'm moving boldly with my dreams. And I moved and said, God, if you're real, for real, if any of this stuff I'm reading and seeing and all this stuff, if any of this is real, you're going to have to show up right now or my death is coming. Because I'm out in the street now. Cold, rain. This is New York too. In the winter, I'm in the street. Okay, this is what it is. But lo and behold, that same God I yelled and argued with said, I got something for you. Moved right into the shelter, homeless. The social worker himself. You don't understand God right now. The social worker became my DJ. We done created some group called Boogie Down Productions, and the rest is hip-hop's history. Literally. The rest of that story is literally hip-hop's history, okay? God was real. When I held the South Bronx in my hand as a vinyl record, when I heard my record play on the radio, and I said, I knew there was a time when this was impossible. Impossible. We used to listen to the radio, and the guys coming on the radio were gods, straight up. You on the radio? That was unheard of. Nobody got on the radio. Nobody we knew. Dude on the radio. I'm on the radio. That confirmed for me, God, you are real. When South Bronx came out, I became a minister for hip hop right there. The minute South Bronx came out, I became the teacher. And matter of fact, in South Bronx, I said, I am a teacher and others are kings. If that's the title they earn, well, it's well deserved, but without a crown, see, I still burn. You settled for a pebble, not a stone like a rebel. KRS-ONE is the holder of a boulder. That's the atlas. Money folder. You want a fresh style? Let me show you. This is my first rhymes. I'm coming out like this because I know I got God on me. I know I'm coming as the teacher. And if any of you MCs want it, I'm itching to put your head on a pike. Straight up. That's God's attitude. Let me tell you. This all this meek shit is, that I don't know that God. That's somebody else's God. The God I know will punch you in your fucking face. That's the God I know. The God I know be removing whole nations, putting them in the sea. The God I know will open your ground up under you and swallow your city. The whole thing will go into the ground. Okay, and we're going to start over. That's the God I know. Okay, the God I know will go up against governments, and that government will say, here's a war on hip hop, a war on graffiti, and you lose. You lose. Okay, Mayor Koch had a war on graffiti. Years later, Mayor Eric Adams is with graffiti writers. Okay, talking about how the sanitation department should open a budget for graffiti writers to not only clean the graffiti, but put it up. Oh, Jesus. We're going to get this. We're going to get this, okay? We're going to get this. Is God real for you? And you got to look at the facts of your life to be real with God. This is not about belief. This is about if you pray to something and what you pray for happens to you, there is no more belief. You're walking with a deity. That's it. Now, I realized this on my first record, South Bronx. It manifested. I already knew it, but it was a faith. It was a faith. I didn't have a record deal. I'm homeless. I got dope rhymes. Dudes is telling me I'm dope, but I'm still eating garbage. I'm literally eating garbage. Literally. I'm sleeping in the street. I'm in shelters. I'm in Central Park and Prospect Park and West 4th Street Park. I'm out there. That's where I'm at. But I'm saying, God, I know you, God. So I'm going to wait on you, God. I know you, God. My day coming because I know you, God. So let's go. And sure enough, South Bronx came out with no help from nobody except the social worker. We in the shelter. My career starts in a homeless shelter. Do you hear me? My career begins in a homeless shelter. Okay? That's where God met us. Not only blazed me, but blazed Just Ice too. On another level, we sitting in Just Ice, 5%er, searching his soul, looking for God. Just Ice. We in there talking God all day. We talking God, spirituality, philosophy, all of this. This is what we talking. This is what we engage in our minds with. And lo and behold, Just Ice got his deal first. Put out a record called Latoya. Latoya, come on, clap your hands. Latoya, come on, clap your hands. Peep it out while I tell you like this. A fresh little story, be sure you don't miss. It's the one true for y'all that used to have the club up like this. Just Ice slept in the bed next to me. I had a bed and Just Ice's bed was right there. And we used to sit there and talk about what we gonna be, what we gonna do, how we gonna do it. And his dream came true first, gave me confirmation. I said, my dude did it. Waited on mine. Me and Scott LaRock running around trying to get our deal now. And now South Bronx comes out. I confirmed myself. Now from here, I know God got me. Now let's battle. Now let's battle. Any of you motherfuckers, let's go. Okay, I want to show you this. Okay, I want to show you this. And that's what I did. Over the last 30-something years of my career, I'm showing you God. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's what I came here for, and that's what we're going to end with. G-O-D. From the time I opened my mouth in this industry, I was the teacher. I made myself clear. I'm not a king. I'm a teacher. This is what I came here to do. And so we're doing it. And what is the teaching? God is real. God is real. Realer than you can even imagine. But it's you that got to rise to levels of divinity. You can't call yourself a doctor unless you've been to medical school. But you could always put the coat on, the stethoscope, and give somebody an aspirin. In fact, you ain't going to ever be a good doctor until you give someone an aspirin. Until you have to first believe you're a doctor in order to go to medical school. So, you know, all those kids, all those students in medical school first believe they doctors. Then they say, oh, I got to go to medical school so I can become an official fully. I need the knowledge. I need to know how to cut a heart open. I need to heal. I need to know the diseases. I need to know these drugs. I need to know. But before you even enter the school, you know you're a doctor. Before you enter the law school, you know you're an attorney. You love the court. You tuning into the courts. You always looking at law. You standing up for justice. You want to see these criminals go to jail. So you going all of that. But you that before you enter law school. So imagine your G-O-D. You may not be God. You may not be the best God. You may not be the best teacher. But until you believe you are one, you're never going to be one. So even as the teacher, be the teacher now. Walk as the teacher now. And you will get to that point. I wasn't the greatest teacher in South Bronx 19. Matter of fact, South Bronx is an era. Okay, I'm there yelling, I'm the teacher. How South Bronx, hip hop starts in the South Bronx. No, it don't. Now we know it starts in the West Bronx. There should be another song called West Bronx, West Bronx. Or somebody need to come out with a West Bronx song, because that's where hip hop begins, in the West Bronx, not the South Bronx. That's where I lived. Okay, and others, Grandmaster Flash, Bam, all these other people was in the South Bronx too. But if you go with Kool Herc, and you go with the 50th anniversary, and you go with 1520 Centric Avenue, that's West Bronx. Big up to Grandmaster Cass for bringing that to our attention as well. But I wasn't the best teacher back then. But I named myself teacher, and I stayed with that responsibility. And now look. Now look. Okay? Now look. So let's continue this with perform patience. All of this is inner resolve. How do you get to your inner resolve? How do you settle this issue within yourself? You look at the facts of your life and take yourself seriously. This is about self-respect. Now, if you don't respect yourself, of course, none of this matters. No. If you don't respect yourself, none of this matters. If you respect yourself, all of this matters. Inner resolve. Look at your own life and see the miracles in it. If there are no miracles in your life, then go ahead and say, fuck, I'm an atheist. Then I that don't happen for me. I'm still hip hop, but I don't walk that path. No problem. No problem whatsoever. But if you look back on your life and you see miracle, you see unplanned situations, you winding up at places you need to be but didn't think of it yourself. You having all type of psychic experiences, things that are unexplainable but are happening to you. If you deny that, that's a lack of self-respect, because you're not respecting the true you. You look, things are happening to you, but you're looking at everybody else. And if they're not happening to everybody else, you say you'll deny what's happening to you because it ain't happening to everybody else. That's a lack of self-respect. You got to have more respect for yourself. If this is happening to you, respect the fact that it's happening to you. When my record South Bronx came out, it didn't happen to nobody else. Well, maybe Scott LaRock and D Nice, but it happened to me. South Bronx happened to me. It didn't happen to other people. So it happened to me. I confirmed God on that. When my album Criminal Minded came out, it confirmed me, confirmed God on that. When I got out of that B-Boy Records deal and entered into Jive Records deal, God was on that. I did not do these things. These are things that happened in my life. I got hit with this, hit with that, and had to make decisions based on what was coming at me. I did not cause them. I'm getting hit with this. And I confirmed God on it. I confirmed God on it. Every miracle that happened in my life, I confirmed God on it. Now, by the time we got to 1996, I'm like Temple of Hip Hop. God is real, and you bitches gonna know. Straight up. That's it. This is what we doing. This is where we going. And I don't care what y'all think, because you have not walked with the sovereign of the universe. So when we said Temple of Hip Hop, the idiot said, oh, that's a cult. KRS is trying to create a cult. He think he the Messiah. Oh, what kind of complex he got? Oh, you can't be that egotistical. Oh, we heard it all. We heard it all. But guess what? I don't care, because I know they don't know. You know, it's like, I know you know. It's silly, really, because you're just talking. And I'm sitting here laughing. Like, y'all about to get played so hard. Like, it's like when I used to enter battles back in the days, MCs didn't know about the hip hop reggae style. They didn't understand that shit. That would bye. They didn't understand that shit. Everybody was just rapping like the Fat Boys and LL Cool J and Run DMC, and He's D, I'm J. We're gonna rock the mic. They like this. I'm coming with why da da dang, why da 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 dang. They didn't understand that shit. They didn't understand that. Okay, I'm out in the street with my lyrics. Okay, before they was on record, I'm saying 1, 2, 3. The crew is called BDP. Those were my freestyles. I used to have that out in the street, and I knew we walk into a battle. That's how I used to walk in. First of all, I'm tall. I'm 6'6", sometimes 6'7". I'm walking in. I'm a big dude. I come in, and I know me. So I walk in, I'm elbowing you because I know I could beat your ass. So I'm going to elbow your ass. Get the fuck out of here talking that dumb shit. This is God now. And them MCs was cringing. Oh, God, it is God. Right. It's KRS-ONE. We coming into the cipher now. Y'all think y'all dope? Let's see who's dope for real. They didn't know the hip-hop reggae style. Back in the days, I hit them with the reggae. Dudes couldn't understand it. And don't let me be in a club where I could throw the music on. It was over. You couldn't even, there was nothing you could do. Okay, it was nothing you could do. Okay. I mention that because that's how you got to be with your God knowledge. You already know God got you. Okay, you already know. Too many miracles have already happened. Okay. You already know God got you. So walk boldly in the confidence that God is going to protect, provide, and guide you on everything you're doing. Everything, even your mistakes are God's. Your errors are God's. Your ignorance is God's. You are walking as a God. Therefore, everything about you is right. Even your errors. You don't want to just keep doing errors. We're not doing that. But don't be so hard on yourself when you make a mistake. Because if you walk in this path, even your mistakes are teaching you and leading you to something you didn't see. Something you did not see. And you judging yourself, getting guilty about stuff that really God is using to bring you to where you need to be. Stop judging yourself and start loving yourself. Start respecting yourself like God does. God loves you and respects you just like you are. Just like you. Imagine that. You here trying to correct yourself, fix yourself, and God's like, I'm more evil than you are. Well, you think God is less evil than you? Please. Okay. I think Jesus, Yeshua said it in the Bible. It was so people breeze over that. He says, Yeshua said, God, he said, why do you worry that God will not take care of you? Look how God does the trees and the lilies in the field. Look at how God feeds the birds. They're not worried about what they're going to eat. They run around. And it's like this is the attitude you have to have. This is the attitude that you have to have. You know, I was thinking about Yeshua said, even you who are, he said, even y'all who are sinful, God looks out for you. Why are you worrying? Like he said, even with all your sins and all your ignorance, God is still looking out for you. Still. Why are you afraid? Why are you judging yourself? God's not judging you. God is God. So maybe you should stop judging yourself and really get with knowledge of God. God, what are you doing? Because if I know what you're doing, I know how to judge myself. If I know how to, if I could judge God, I could judge myself. Do you hear what I said? If I know what God's doing, I know what I'm doing. If I know how God feels about me, I know how I feel about me. But what's happening is we looking at how the world feels about us and neglecting how God feels about us. That's why we're worried, depressed, anxious, stressed, and so on, because you're worried about what the world thinks. And if you still worried about what the world thinks, the world is going to lead you astray. It is the oldest trick in the book. All philosophers, sages, and wise people know this. We all know it. The world is not the path. God is the path. But too often, that straight and narrow path called God's path is straight and narrow. And not many people can get on this path. You get on this path, you're going to be ahead of your time all the time because God is ahead. You on this path, you're going to look weird to people because God is weird to people. You on this path, you're going to get everything God has in store for you. And what God has in store for you is the desires of your own heart because you walking in righteousness. So what you want, God wants. And what God wants, you want. Because you're not God, but you are God. But you're not God, but you are. And so read further now. All of this is dealing with inner resolve. How do you resolve that within you? How am I really going to walk with God for real, for real? You're going to look at the facts of your life. And if there's no miracles in your life, then you could be an atheist. Go for it. It might do you some good. But if there's real miracles in your life, things that went down that you couldn't explain, if this is really what's going on, really, and you still denying it, you still denying God in your life, still denying your own divinity. After that sickness came, you thought you was going to die. You healed. You still doubting your body? The resilience of it? This is what we're doing. So get that inner resolve. What performs patience? Perform patience. Practice expressing calm endurance. Silent strength. People dissing you, calling you all type of names and all types of craziness while you trying to do God's work. You got to have an inner strength. And of course, that inner resolve. I'm clear. Okay, God is real. For me, it was South Bronx, Criminal Mind, a couple other albums of things happened in my life that I was ass out. I was caught. Nothing to do. God came, got me out. I knew it was God. And I said, got it. We're going to walk this. We're going to walk this. Now, by the time we get to 1996, like I said, Temple of Hip Hop now. Now I'm clear. I'm clear now. By the time we get to 96, from 86, South Bronx, 86. 10 years later, I'm clear. Okay, I'm clear. Ain't no more belief in God. God, I'm walking with you. God, I've been walking with you, God. Actually, so we're walking. Now, in that walk, there were many challenges. But I said, God, you're with me. Sometimes me and God had to be humble. Imagine that. God yielded. The challenge was too big. And God said, hold up. Be patient. I got something working. It's not going to happen now. These people are going to be in power for a little longer. But be patient. In a minute, they're going to be in power no more. And this is what we read, okay? All those politicians after 9/11, all the hoopla, all the talk, all the lives lost. People dead on both sides. America, Iraq, Afghanistan, all of that. After all that, now we sit here. Now we sit here after COVID, and it's like it never happened. It's like a whole generation is growing up without that on them. It's like it never happened. Everybody who got arrested for weed, for possession of marijuana, they're being let out of prison, and their records are being expunged. Like it never happened. These are miracles. Nas said, imagine walking down the street smoking weed with no cops harassing. When he said that, okay, you was walking down the street smoking weed, and the cop would lock your ass up for 5 to 10 years. Do you hear me? For a joint. Some of you out there listening to me right now experience this. For a joint or a bag of weed, you getting thrown on the floor, thrown in jail, got to do rehab, got to go get an attorney, got to fucking save yourself and shit for a joint? For a blunt, You got to go through all this. Now, all them people and all their ways and all their power is gone. Gone. I'm in California, weed dispensary everywhere. Everywhere. These people are competing. I saw a Mexican dude out there with a big sombrero hat. You know, they do all types of themes out here. Okay. They got this guy, the Mexican dude, standing out there looking like traditional Mexican. But he had a sign that said, honk if you want free weed. Honk. He's out on a highway, like not a highway, a street, a big street, has a sign. It's standing in front of a dispensary, weed spot. Honk if you want free weed. Everybody going by, going bam, bam, bam. Going by, honk if you want free weed. I remember it coming to Cali. I'm not gonna put my bad. I was gonna say bad line. I'm not even gonna go there with my dude. Okay, we were here when weed was illegal. Okay, we were here when when the Rampart division was coming with that big ass thing through your window and through your door. If they even smell marijuana coming from your house. Okay, they were running up in people's houses out here in Cali. Look up the Rampart division of the 1980s and 90s. Craziness, okay? Crazy. Even the new millennium. Remember, these marijuana laws didn't happen. They just happened in the last 5 and 10 years. This is new. This is new. My point here with the weed example is that things change. Things change. Everything in this world is temporary. Everything. That's why we want to franchise hip-hopia. We may exist for 100 years, 200 years, but our time is coming too. Cultures last for like thousands of years, but they come to an end. Okay. Cities last for hundreds of years, but they too come to an end. And we got to know that too. This is our time. And you can't waste the time. Something else is going to happen. You know, remember, South Bronx, at one time, South Bronx and Criminal Minded was my blessing. And that's all I had. That was it. Criminal Minded, the album. That was my blessing. We jumped from that to the Stop the Violence movement. That was a blessing. We jumped from that to the universities. That was a blessing. And it goes on and on and on. So it's like, well, let me hit you with that, because what I'm dealing with is these 3 words here: calm endurance, silent strength, and inner resolve. And I'm talking about how you get to those with a knowledge of God, which is a knowledge of yourself. These lead to patience. Inner resolve. These lead to patience. Be tolerant of others and their views, and always be willing to wait. Be tolerant. Now, we're highlighting this too, by the way. I told you to highlight the whole first paragraph of Perform Patience and 1 and 2. Let's go on. Be tolerant. The word is tolerant. Tolerate others and their views. And always be willing to wait. This is patience. See, right now, people having all type of debate, Republican, Democrat, even gay, straight, I smoke weed, I don't smoke weed. Like all of these, you got to be tolerant of other people's views. Expand your intelligence to understand. You ain't got to agree with everything everybody doing or agree with somebody else's lifestyle. You don't have to agree, but to not understand, that's the part that limits you. You can't stretch your intelligence out to understand somebody else's life and what somebody else going through. You don't understand the roach. You don't understand roach reality. You don't understand dog reality. You don't understand elephant reality or bird reality, plant reality. Well, apply the same to people of a different complexion, people of a different sexual orientation, people of different job and occupation backgrounds, or whatever it may be that's different from you. Learn to not accept, but understand. Understanding is better than acceptance. You don't have to accept everything I'm saying or what I'm about even. You ain't got to accept everything about me, But if you don't understand it, that's the point. You know, you can understand my point and disagree with it. And really, the only way to disagree is to first understand it, so you could properly disagree. I know what Chris is saying. Ding, ding, do. I disagree, though. I'm coming with bing, bing, bang. That's legitimate. I understand, but I don't agree. That's how Chris lives his life. I don't live my life like that, but I understand why he may live like that. I understand what he's doing in his life. I don't agree for my life. That's legitimate. But we're not even doing that. That's why everybody out here arguing and beefing and fighting and depressed and anxiety and all of this other stuff, because you're not allowing another person to be themselves. We're spending so much energy trying to cut another person down. We're not putting enough energy building ourselves up. We're not building up. Every time you give energy, dissing somebody else, you take that same energy from yourself. You should give more energy lifting people up, because what does it do? It lifts you up. The paragraph. Be tolerant of others and their views, and always be willing to wait. Whatever is yours by divine right. Within the spiritual life, there is very little need to rush or be anxious. Simply ask and then wait in an expected manner. Usually, what you do not receive is for your own good. Here, patience is the ability to be still and allow opportunity to fall into your lap. Be still and allow opportunity to fall into your lap. Do not run after opportunity. Only position yourself to receive opportunities. Usually, it is the righteous that remain still through the changes of the world in a strategic position, so that when the world unexpectedly changes again, opportunity falls into their lap. You just put yourself in a strategic situation called the Temple of Hip Hop in 1996. Stay here. God said, stay here. And just like I told you to stay in the shelter and hip hop came to you, is the same way you're going to stay in this temple and hip hop going to come to the temple. Be firm, be consistent, and perform patience. Now our icons in the culture, legends in the culture, are finding their spirit, finding their spirituality. And you as a teacher, you can't hold resentment either. You know, let me put that on it as well. You can't, because somebody dissed you in the past. You know how many people dissed me? Crazy. You got all types of, and I mean in written stuff. People in books, letters, online, article, magazines, they dissing. KRS ain't shit. KRS think he this, and KRS think he, all of this, okay? Now these same people coming to me today with the sorry in their mouth, and we didn't know, and Chris, you knew all along, and now I'm getting all this, but it's cool though, because again, I didn't hold no grudge then, okay? When you was dissing me then, I was here. A few times I pulled the book out on twos and said, if you want to judge me by this, okay? This is what I'm also going to judge you by at the same time, while we all judging each other. Let's see the criteria by which we judging. I'm judging by on the gospel. What you judging by? Oh, I just don't like him. I don't like his voice. I don't like what he do. I don't like how he think he did. Okay, no problem. I hope their lives are what they wanted them to be 27 years ago. I hope in 25 years, 20 years, 10 years, they arrived at where they needed to be. And I sincerely hope that. Because like I said, if God never showed up for you, then you got to live that life. And I understand that. For me, it's horrible. If you don't know knowledge of God, I don't even know how you're getting through this world. Okay, I don't know how you're going to do that without no miracles. But people are doing it every day. They live in that mundane, routine, go nowhere life. And they're so angry with themselves that they going to pull you down. They see you rising. They see you talking something positive. They want to yank you down, pull you down because they not going nowhere in their own life and they know it. Here you standing on something positive, they want to try to bring you down. I was already ahead of them lessons, been there, did that. That's why it doesn't bother me. When they was this and that, I was like, you know what, it's all good. They just don't know. Let me just keep preaching and teaching. And eventually you won't find out because I'm standing on truth. Okay, I'm standing on the truth. And that's it. So it don't matter what people say about you. I'm saying this for you. It don't matter what people say about you, how they criticize you. If you standing on truth, they're going to come back with their tail between their legs. And that is not something to say because that's more revengeful. That's the Leo in me. That's the battle. You want to get it? Let's get it. Okay, that's that over there. I say that only one time, okay, from a point of view. Let God fight your battles. It's worse. It's worse for these people, okay? Let God fight your battles. You don't move your heart from what God told you you were supposed to do. And most of the time when God tells you to do something, the world is going to criticize you. They're going to ostracize. They're going to marginalize you. They're going to forget about you. You're not going to win no awards. You're not going to get the big tours. They're not going to call you for the movies. You're not getting the cover of the magazine. They're not inviting you to the White House. You're getting nothing. In fact, you're going to get dissed on top of no support. But guess what? You're walking with the sovereign of the universe. Universe, the one verse, okay? They can have their multiverses. Master one verse first, okay? Let's get with this verse, okay? You're walking with the sovereign of this universe right now. That's who you walking with. So you got to act like the king's child. You got to be the prince, the fresh prince. You got to be the fresh prince of hip hop, okay? That's what you got to be, a fresh prince, because God is the king. And you're walking as a prince. You got to know your father is the king. You got to know your mother is the king. Okay? You got to know that. And you got to know your sister is a god. And you got to know your brother is a god. And you got to know you. But see, again, look at my language. If you really don't know this, if this is like talk for you, then everything I'm saying, like I said, is just entertainment. This is all entertainment. It's nothing. It's nothing. You're just taking this in. And go ahead and take that too. Hopefully I'm entertaining to you right now, but that's what it is. You're never going to get what you're supposed to get from what I'm teaching, which is you can create the life you want for yourself, even if it appears impossible. I'm working with sciences that is not exclusive to hip hop. Remember, I shout mad authors that I was reading when I was growing up that was spitting this same knowledge. Science of mind, science of being. This is only the kings know this. And that's why I'm speaking it to you now. This part here, do not run after opportunity, only position yourself to receive opportunities. Usually it is the righteous that remain still through the challenges of the world in a strategic position so that when the world unexpectedly changes again, opportunity falls into their lap. That's what we did with the Temple of Hip Hop. While people were dissing and acting crazy, we stayed in our position. It's called the Temple of Hip Hop, y'all. 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 And now we stood firm. And now the world unexpectedly changes. COVID, all this other stuff. Okay. Again, it changes again. An opportunity fell into our lap because we were positioned to get it. We didn't chase after this. We announced it and then waited on God. Remember that opportunity is not to be chased down. It is to be searched for. Opportunity is not to be hunted. It is granted. It is not taken. It is received. Hip hoppers are encouraged to find strength in the things that they already have. Be patient, even with ignorant, selfish people. Be patient with them as well as with yourself, and prepare for the fall of the ignorant. It is inevitable. And this, you're highlighting all the way the first paragraph of Perform Patience, and then 1, and then 2. And this part about the fall of the ignorant. Those that don't know, they fall eventually because you don't know. You trip, you run into shit, you don't know. But the ones who do know then pick up from where those people left off. These people who don't know wind up damaging themselves, giving up their property, removing themselves from certain offices and stuff because you don't know. You're guessing. You really don't know. And why don't you know? Because you got no self-respect. That's why you don't know. Knowing is not in a book. Knowing is in life. And if you don't have no respect for yourself, then the miracles of your life you won't take seriously. God is showing you miracle after miracle after miracle in your life, healing you of everything, financially, bodily, mind, everything. Opportunities are coming your way. You can't even explain them. They're coming your way, but you don't mark that down. You don't keep a diary and mark down your miracles. You don't remember them even in your own head. You don't celebrate your own divinity. You're hiding it because other people gonna look at you weird. Other people gonna say, "Oh, he one of them weirdos." And you want to fit in with these ignoramuses. So you want to fit in with stupidity. That's no respect for yourself. And that's the point. Me, I respect myself. Therefore, when somebody says to me, "Oh, KRS wants to be some messiah," so on, I'll be like, you're right. you might actually be right. You might actually be right. So there is no beef. What? This is what I'm holding myself out as. I'm no Messiah. If you study the Messiah is never a person. The Messiah is a nation. The Messiah is a movement personified as a person. That's what the Christ has always been. A group of people personified as one person walking around. We'll get back to that lesson later. But I'm going to end this lesson on patience. On patience. This is what this lesson is. Everything we doing at the Temple of Hip Hop in Newark, New Jersey, everything we're doing with 1520 Community Center in the Bronx, all required patience. And not just wait, because you got to wait, and you got to be good with wait. But you got to wait while you're getting dissed. That's the part. You got to wait while dudes is denying you, don't want to pay you. You know how much a city costs? And I'm struggling to try to get a promoter. We had SOBs trying to work the door. SOB, you ain't going to start no city with that. But if you don't work the door at SOBs, you'll never work the door at your SOBs when you get to your city. You won't be prepared. So you go through the little struggles and stuff and the unseemingly unrelated events and all this stuff. And you say, "God, why are you got me here?" And you should always remember, I'm being led to the vision I have of myself. I'm being led. Even if it seems crazy, I'm being led. I know I'm being led. I have divine GPS, guidance, protection, and strength. Divine GPS. If you walk in the path. So this is the lesson today, y'all. This is the lesson. I'm gonna conclude here with this. This is the lesson and highlight everything that we spoke about. Let me go over the highlights one more time before we end. Page 489. We highlight paragraphs 122 to 127. Page 329. We highlight paragraphs 70 and 72. Page 317, we highlight paragraphs 17 and 20. Page 165, we highlight paragraphs 1 and 2. The first part of it, and then 1 and 2. Our lesson today is on patience, and I'm asking you to be patient. Be patient with yourself. Don't keep blaming yourself for your errors. Don't keep judging yourself and putting yourself down. If you're on this path, even your errors are leading you to where you need to be. You don't want to sit there and keep making mistakes. That's immature. But when you make a mistake and you recognize it's a mistake and you're not going there no more, you have matured. To know what's right, you got to experience what's wrong. And this is the part that nobody wants to do, so nobody right. Because they don't want to experience the wrong. When they experience the wrong, they judge themselves, they judge others. The mercy, forgiveness, understanding, all that's out the window. And these are the things that protect you from judgment and a lack of self-respect. Mercy, forgiveness, understanding, love. These things protect you from judging others and judging yourself. You love yourself. So you don't judge yourself, you love yourself. But that was whack. I shouldn't have did that. I shouldn't have ate that. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have went there. And you know you shouldn't have, but you went. And you experienced whatever you experienced. Now you hear, you like, damn, that was whack. I shouldn't have went there. All it means is I'm not going back. God, what lesson was I supposed to learn with that? How you guiding me with that? And you move on from there. And you move on from there. So perform patience. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with other people. Be patient. This is today's lesson. I am KRS-ONE. The Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop preservation ministry, archive, school, and society. We started in 1996 with the affirmation, rap is something you do, hip hop is something you live, or we live. We are not just doing hip hop, we are hip hop. The I am hip hop philosophy, all of this is our work. Hip hop declared an international culture of peace and prosperity at the United Nations, the only time it was ever done like this, and the only legal document that declares hip hop an actual culture, the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. This is our work. Hip-hopia, now we move forward to. This is our work. The Temple of Hip Hop, training the citizens of hip hop how to be citizens so that we don't get these sellouts. We don't get criminals in our culture. We don't get people who are afraid. We get courageous people in our culture. We get righteous people in our culture. We got to set this foundation right so the tree grows up strong, so the building goes up strong. That's what the Temple of Hip Hop is. That's what the point is. That's what our whole situation is all about. That's it. God loves hip hop. I am KRS-ONE. I turn it over now to Son One and to the Temple members that are taking in the apprenticeship with me today. We have a meeting tonight at about 7 o'clock. We've been trying to get this 7 o'clock meeting off for a couple of days, but 7 o'clock tonight, we're going to have this meeting and just go over, what we're studying here. I want to debrief with what went on, yesterday. We was on, and the show before that as well. We have our road management paper we have to go over as well, and so on. And then, of course, questions. We got things going on. So tonight at 7 o'clock, Temple members, we will be at our secret location having our discussion there. So that's for the apprentice that are with the Temple of Hip Hop here in Los Angeles. We do have a meeting tonight at 7 o'clock at our secret location. All right, Son One, it's on you. What
Yes,
you on to do? I'm out. Peace.
my G. Peace and much love, everybody. Very energizing, inspirational lesson today by our teacher KRS-ONE. Obviously, I wholeheartedly agree with everything And the miracles are so similar, it's not even funny. And which I'm sure is the same for most of you who are viewing this. God, it's knowledge over here, straight up and down. There's no doubt uh, as to everything that's taken place. And what's crazy is the fact that um, we have it on film, in a sense, by giving these sermons. Really, you could literally see the development and see God all through it. Different circumstances, just things coming out of nowhere, is so evident. And it shouldn't be looked at as a small thing either. Um, there's a thing that is said in certain spiritual texts where it essentially says God wouldn't really send an angel to a person, or God would send a person, or you send the beings to a reflection of themselves. It's not something that would terrify you again, because if you actually had such an experience. So, to the miracles that are happening, and we could say just for the Temple of Hip Hop itself, that it's some might say, oh nah, well, come on. It's not as big of a miracle as walking on water. But yes, it is. Because again, as many spiritual people, or even you could say churches or mosques or synagogues, that or temples or Buddhist temples, and whatnot, but they had to work in the sense of raise money big time in order to get wherever they got. This was literally a gift from God. Um, you find yourself at a function for 24 hours of peace, that one of the students that you put on has now uh, graduated into running this, and next thing you know, you're in the mayor's office. And next thing you know, they're showing you what they want to give you, and the word is give. And not only that, there's multiple places that they want to. Certain things are going to take certain time, and all the above. But something exists right now. We could have had a whole high school, which really would have been insane. Um, but the character, again, the character of the teacher, which has been drawing all of this, and really just in an acceptance of a personal relationship with God, to show you that the words that he spoke today, out of the gospel of hip hop, are without a doubt fact. And it's a repeatable thing when you do have this relationship. And that's where it's like, or you better talk to God, and believe in the responses that you believe you're getting, and then really look for it. If you don't do that, you won't. Or again, like teacher said, he said in the beginning, he put the disclaimer in the beginning, which said, if you do not walk the path, if you don't have the relationship, if you're not communicating with that God that I believe at some point in life make sure to make itself aware to the beings on the planet, um, or in this reality. But and that's where it starts. You either answer or dismiss it, and then your life goes in a certain direction. God's still blessing you, with even just the miracle of being awake, the miracle of not getting into a car accident, the miracle of not getting shot, the miracle of not getting the flu. You have to have an awareness. You have to have an awareness. Again, so or the point I was trying to get to is the fact that if you don't live that type of life, everything we're saying, even what we're showing you, it doesn't matter. Or it's not gonna make any sense. And it's not gonna work to try to bypass the requirement of time put into walking the path to get to this time of harvest, really, and or in this season. And this is a certain season that came with more rewards than rewards mean. Or to as teacher mentioned, you saw us in or we had plans then to have that temple house run as a temple of hip hop, open to the public. People come in, see the exhibit, this, that, and the third, then expand, go to another place in Atlanta, and get it popping. God said no. Shut everything down. And this is where you got to look at it, especially for those who are conspiracy theorists against COVID 19's existence. Period. God uses everybody in order to reorder reality, and so real, fake doesn't matter. Everything got shut down. Couldn't do it. Um, didn't hamper our faith. We said, well, we gonna teach right here regardless. A lot of that, or this is traveling. We're stationary, but this thing called the internet has us in countries all everywhere, everywhere. Except for maybe a place that's regulating their internet. But the majority of the world gets this and has been getting it for over 2 years consistently. And it's adding to the order. Then the shows add to the order. The lectures add to the ordering. And what I'm seeing and witnessing is that who the world considers, or really who's supposed to be in these positions, are supposed to be pretty much the most intelligent people in our society. The governance should be of higher intelligence than those they're governing, it can help raise them up in intelligence, but initially they're supposed to be the smartest, or you go to school, top positions in society, scientists, politicians, doctors. That's where most of the money or that we think are the intellectuals go there. So they're all coming to our teacher. And respectfully, and I don't even think this isn't to downplay who they are, but they're saying you're right. Are we, as intellectuals, listening to your reasoning and the way you see things? We agree. We think that's right. We should get together, um, pop around some ideas so that we could act on what you're thinking, adding to the order. Then people are coming up. Two people um gave testimony last night in the middle of everything. Stopped us. Mark Love was one. Spoke of um teacher being charitable to him in a dire time of need when he needed help, and it was our teacher who helped him. Another woman uh, just had a stroke, couldn't walk, couldn't talk. She said teacher saved her life, and she was coming to get her hip hop fix for the night. Fredro Starr said, "I'm here to learn. So I'm here to learn. I want to take in what you saying and see what it is." And that's going throughout the peers too. They're conversating with each other like, "Yo, you still gotta go see him. You gotta, if you're in town and he's doing a show, you want to go, no matter how uh you want to see it for yourself. Get the spirit of hip hop in you." Um, so even on that, no, I'm not even gonna say it. I could say it. I'll say it. Even on the man Messiah tip, uh, nah, it's been my entire almost 20 years with teacher it's been nothing but you saved my life. And I feel like he saved my life. So, uh, and I'm not ashamed to say it. So this is what it is. Patience truly is a virtue. Um, and that very much depends on your character and what how how are you willing to be used? And I'm talking about used by God. And is it okay to you if God has another way? Or really, which another way is normally the best way, the safe way, the way that gets you where you need to be, exactly when you need to arrive. The whatever is yours by divine right is key. It's key. Nobody can take from you. This is why there's no reason to be jealous of nobody else, um, intimidated by somebody else, or even looking at somebody else's situation with envy. There's no reason for what you deserve. You are going to get, or it's really destiny that nobody can take away. that which you deserve, but all of that has to do with that relationship that you're having with God. And so that I'll close with that. Even it's making me think. The more I think of it, like, let's keep it real. I think these atheists is lying. I think they secretly talking with God and just want to be different and have a different title. But I'm sure God is knocking them over the head too. Like, oh, really? You don't believe I am? Okay. Well, watch life, because this is what it is. Peace and much love to you all. The Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop ministry, archive, school, and society. We believe that the best way to preserve hip hop is to actually preserve yourself. Peace and much love.
You ready to go? Yeah. I'm ready to go. What about y'all? Y'all ready to go? Yeah. I'm ready to go. Look, know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. Whoa. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. Whoa. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. Whoa. God is the mother, the father, the friend. Know ye not that ye must be born again? What does it mean to be in the world but not of it? It means you want the cars, the cash, the jewels, the house, but you don't love it. It means the taxes, regulations, state law, you live above it. It means you a free hip-hopper, you ain't nobody's puppet. You don't see no money on me, you see it up in the cupboard. You see me up in Toys R Us with my seed cause they love it. You see insurance flash out if my kids pass out. You see 7 acres of land where we can all spaz out. To all my fathers that bothered, hold your head up for starters. Teach your toddlers not to be thieves and robbers. This that other kind of rap that leads to true hip-hop. There's other kinds of raps, but they lead you to get shot. The choice is yours, you getting older now. You got a kid coming, how you gonna hold it down? It's one thing to be iced out and rocked up. What's the point if you're getting locked up? Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. Whoa. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. Whoa. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. Whoa. God is the mother, the father, the friend. Know ye not that ye must be born again? It's really time we separate the young men from the big men, the young girls from the women, whatever the title to fit them. My style designed to open a child's mind when I spit them. I only got a little bit of time to really rhyme and uplift them. You see them brothers talking about that crime, forgive them. It won't be long before they words manifest and they live them. Sometimes you gotta go back to the beginning to learn. After 15 years, I'm just beginning to burn. To all my true hip-hoppers that pay bills and live proper, never allow a negative thought to stop ya. Correct your posture, stand upright, not uptight. Don't be scared of the light, just prepare for the fight. We say criminal-minded, cause our thoughts are illegal. We represent the very thinking of inner city people, real people, people that take care of themselves. They need health, love, awareness, and wealth. Not to mention knowledge of God, not college, then job, then dead. If you agree, nod your head. It's one thing to be iced out and rocked up, but what's the point if you're getting locked up? Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. Whoa. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. Whoa. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. Whoa. God is the mother, the father, the friend. Know ye not that ye must be born again? Come on, yo, tonight is it. We gonna steal away together through these rhymes I spit. When the student is ready, the teacher shall appear. So I'm here, but are you really ready to face your fears? More money, is that your credo? You've been living in a dream world, Neo. Power to the people. Nobody's equal, everybody's diverse and different. My lyric will never cheat you, my verse is gifted. So manifest what you believe is God Almighty. It could be Allah, Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, Aphrodite. It could be Nefertiti, come hear me and never fear me. It's like at some point in your life you're gonna have to hear me. I represent them teachers, preachers coming through your speaker, manifesting another lesson to them true believers. Instead of picking up our women ready to mistreat them, you better get yourself a wife and kid needed a teacher quick, so I became it. Instead of rhyming about my history and what I've been through, I'd rather rhyme about awakening the God within you. Yo, it's one thing to be iced out and rocked up, but what's the point if you're getting locked up? Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. God is the mother, the father, the friend. Know ye not that ye must be born again? Fresh for 2000, my sisters and brothers. My sisters and brothers.
Thank you. Woo! Yes! Praise God.